Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 9th of July, 2020. This is Gap, episode 524. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here, and it's another week of video games, Joab. That's what we do.
Yes, it is. That's what we do. That is what we do. I didn't realize it was hat o'clock. What's going on? Why are you wearing a hat? People at home, you cannot see this, but Luke is wearing a hat, and it's very weird. Why are you wearing a hat?
Because we're recording later in the day.
Yeah.
It's 8:30 here at the moment, and
it's
at
hat
this
time.
stage, my hair is looking terrible. So
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm resorting to wearing hats now.
Oh my god! Here we go. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's
He's so precious.
I don't know what to do with it anymore. It's at that
views we get
point
on our YouTube.
where I'm just like, I don't know what to do. It's
We've been
fucking all over the place.
Like, my hair is fucking out of control. It is so fucking long. If I take I can actually cover my fucking ears with my hair now. It is, you know how when like kids are growing up and they won't get haircuts?
Yeah,
I've seen it a billion times, and they always have like this long shape. That's me now. It's not because I won't get a haircut. Well, I won't, but it's also, you know, I won't get a haircut because I don't think it's safe to get a haircut. So,
right.
And also I hate getting a haircut. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, your options are someone who talks way too much, or some old Italian / Greek / Russian guy who literally only does one style. And there's no in between. It's always one or the other. And you're like, could you just shut the fuck up and cut my hair and also do exactly what I want for $11?
I'll give you 12 just not to talk.
Yeah, I'll pay you an extra buck to just never talk to me.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Mine's at the stage. Like, I don't mind if it was long. It's just I can't do anything with it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's annoying the crap out of me. Anyway,
yeah, hair talk.
I went out of the house this weekend. Left my neighborhood for the first time in 4 months, since basically the start of March. So yeah, we went up to Yosemite National Park. They opened it up about a week and a half ago, I think, to the public, but they're letting it open in a limited release, I guess. So not as many people are allowed in. Still.
Did you have to book ahead or some shit?
Yeah, we had to book ahead.
Oh, okay.
And
you got the hookups. You got the Yosemite hookups to book in.
Yeah, we know some
the
people.
VIP pass. Yeah, cool.
So yeah, I got out of the house for a little while before shit hits the fan again. Not again. I mean, it still is hitting the fan, but
it hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped. It's continuously hitting the fan.
It's not like Australia where it's re-hit the fan in Victoria, and it's, in 2 weeks it'll re-hit the fan in New South Wales.
They were like 90 people are infected or something, right? 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, oh my gosh. I think today we had 50,000, something like that.
Yeah, that's because one of these countries is actively attempting to manage the virus, and the other country is, I have no idea. I've got no clue what your country is trying to do.
I mean, for the most part, like, I don't know if I said this, but when I go to the shops, I'd say that if I walk down the street, at least 95% of people have masks on.
That's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I've mentioned it before, but like, you can't go into anywhere without a mask, so people are wearing them. The hotel we stayed at was, you had to wear masks around the entire place, except for when you were, I guess, eating or drinking by the pool or anything like that. All the actual restaurant where they had food set up was all the tables were extremely spaced out apart. They basically took apart the bar and turned that into the other half of the restaurant. So It was all pretty well spaced apart. All the restaurant staff had masks on. So that was good. They weren't doing like housekeeping at all. Unless you needed something, so they would just do it at the end of your trip, so you didn't have people in and out of your room every day.
Right.
Yeah. So even on the trip, like in the actual parks, people wearing masks. If you're on a trail or anything like that, then people would quickly put on a mask if you were walking past someone, or you would get out of the way if you could, because sometimes it's just not possible. You're on a fucking edge of a cliff and it's like a long dip, so you kind of try and make enough room as possible. But yeah, it seemed like, at least I know people in California are trying extremely hard, and it's it's just unfortunate that the government is not taking it as seriously. The federal government, that is. Yeah, the local governments are. It's just they're not getting any help anywhere else. So, figured we get away from the weekend before they start closing things up again, or I don't know what the next stage is at this point. I'm at the point now where I think the basketball. I don't think I make it through at this stage. I think they'll start, and then something's going to happen, and it's going to get fucking out of control. Because Florida at the moment is the highest daily cases per day.
Yeah. Like, unless they literally just fucking isolate like literally everybody in the bubble.
Yeah.
And I still don't even think like there are too many points of failure. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they pull it off, fucking hell, what an achievement. He should get a raise. And Silver should get a raise.
Yes.
But I just don't have... I feel like there's going to be some basketball players that just aren't going to follow the rules, and it's going to cause problems. Anyway, I'm still looking forward to seeing what's going on. They were complaining about the food. I don't know if you saw this on social media, but some of them have started arriving at like their quarantine hotels, and they were complaining about the food they're getting served.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's gonna be doesn't LeBron spend $1 million on his like personal health and fitness every year? And that includes like dietitians and nutritionists and like all this kind of stuff. Is he allowed to bring a fucking staff of like chefs and shit?
I don't think so, because each team has their own chef, from what I read, when they release like their 100-page document.
Or the alternative is you're on the Lakers and suddenly you're eating whatever LeBron's personal chef is making. Like, fucking, it's about time. I've been eating fucking garbage because I only get paid $300,000 a year to sit on a fucking basketball bench.
DoorDash every night.
But now I'm getting the good stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, I have zero faith that they're going to do the right thing, but I hope it.
I would not. There's no way I'd take a bet that they make it all the way through. Yeah, no chance. No chance. Anyway, shall we do a podcast?
We should.
I want to kick off this week by clarifying something I was talking about last week. So last week we were talking about the concept of spoilers in The Last of Us Part 2.
Right. And we had a question.
Stuff. Yes, we did. And I think it, spurred some debate between the two of us. I remember saying, basically the moment we fucking we finished the fucking podcast, I'm like, oh my God, I should not have said that. I should have said this. And now, like, over the course of the fucking week, the situation around The Last of Us has gotten like even more toxic, or at least the team at Naughty Dog are sharing a lot of like some of the worst toxicity they're getting.
Right.
And I've been on the receiving end of that kind of shit. And I hate to think And I'm 1000% certain none of our listeners have contributed to this shit. But I hate to contribute that hate to think that I've contributed to a culture or a environment where some feel emboldened to send that sort of hyper toxic, violent horseshit to developers and voice actors and everything. It's just garbage. But like I said, none of our listeners are doing that shit. But I just can't fucking bear to think it's out there that someday some fuckhole will re-listen to this podcast or last week's podcast and use it as proof that they're justified in their decisions. What I said was that Druckmann and co should have written better. So re the concept of not wanting to spoil the shock moments early on in The Last of Us Part 2. Regarding that, I said that, you know, if they didn't feel like they could get away with doing that, they should have written better. But I don't actually think that. I think in the moment, it felt quite pithy, quite fucking snappy, and I got fucking roped up into the hype of that. Was mostly me trying to dunk on you, and they were the ball. What I should have said is they should have had more confidence. I definitely believe that there is a lack of confidence about a lot of stuff surrounding The Last of Us Part 2. And they should have had more confidence that The Last of Us Part 2, its story didn't need that shock within the shock event that happens within the first 90 minutes of the game. Obviously, I spoiled the fuck out of it last week, but I don't want to like heavy spoiler tag the fucking opening of the fucking podcast or anything like that. So I will avoid saying it again, even though I sincerely believe it's not a spoiler. They should have had more confidence in the idea that the story is capable of supporting itself without needing to use that shock as its primary fucking mechanism for propelling the player into the story itself. I do not think The Last of Us Part 2 is worse if you know the shock event that happens. And I think that is telling to the strength of the storytelling within the game. And so the NDA in particular, which restricted us from talking about something within the first fucking 90 minutes of the game, I think it exhibits a lack of confidence, and they should have been more confident. And that is what I should have said. Not they should have written better, because I think The Last of Us Part 2 is spectacularly written. Even if I don't agree with a lot of the not a lot, a bunch of the decisions, narrative, specifically foundational, constructive, or constructional issues that I have with the narrative, right? I do think that it is spectacularly written, and I think they did a fantastic job at writing a compelling story. So I don't think it hinged or required that particular moment to be spoiler tagged for the benefit of people who hadn't played it yet, because it's good. It's good enough without it. It's well and truly capable without it. And I also still stand behind the idea that you shouldn't fucking have to spoiler tag shit that occurs less than 10% of the way into a fucking narrative. That's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that broader point. I mean, it doesn't change you and I's position on it. I think all I wanted to do was reshape what exactly I said. I just didn't mean they'd written it poorly. It just lacked confidence in spoiler tagging that shit or restricting critics from writing about it. I think the story holds itself very well, even if you're talking about that specific moment. Anyway. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. I guess it'll be interesting to see sort of like what the NDA, the embargo, is like for Ghosts of Tsushima surrounding that, because we know that. I mean, I guess we gave too much credit to Sony in relation to that embargo for The Last of Us Part 2, saying that, like, oh yeah, they get stuff out really early. And they've done it in the past for, like, Spider-Man and God of War and things like that. And then literally a month later, the Ghost of Tsushima is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, that's pretty weird, eh?
They're touting limited codes, and I don't buy into any of that bullshit. Like,
they're fucking codes. Yeah. They're fucking codes. It's infinite. Codes.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think they are not confident in this one. I think they're probably internal mock reviews were probably somewhere around 8s, or like maybe low 8s, or high 7s, and they were, they're trying to sort of make the word not spread as quickly, because what's the embargo at this stage? Is it a day before?
Day before launch?
Oh no, sorry. I think it's 3 days before launch.
Before, isn't it?
No.
Oh, I thought it was a full week.
No, that was The Last of Us.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll just quickly check, but I'm pretty sure it is.
No, I think you're right.
5 days from now. So yeah, it's in a. Yeah. It's 3, 4, 5. It's a couple days before launch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they've changed something.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, because it's releasing on the 17th. Reviews are on the 14th. Anyway,
it looks like a game that you'd want to take your time with as well. You wouldn't want to try and rush through, because those sorts of games can get pretty stale pretty quick if you're hammering through them. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, because I still don't have a code, and I presume you don't have a code either. So yeah, we'll just have to wait it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not like we'll have any shortage of shit to talk about next week. I am currently on embargo for a bunch of very big fucking games. So
well, there's a couple of games you can mention you've played.
Yeah, I can mention that I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Watch Dogs Legion, and I do not think I can mention another game. But I've played those two. Yeah, we'll talk about it more next week. So definitely tune in for that. But yeah, it's gonna be. It feels like we don't get the usual July lull. Because I guess everyone scrambled to make up for E3, and they're now scrambling again to keep going to say stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about. So let's just get off this topic.
Is it Half-Life 3? Is that what it is?
Stop bringing it up.
Last of Us Part 2, just quickly. I'm still playing it, my second playthrough. I think I mentioned this last time, but I'm playing it with like a bunch of the accessibility features on. So like the slow down time when you pull the trigger, and a few other like trophy hunting sort of things. But the first playthrough that I did was much more stealthy, taking my time, making sure I didn't get spotted. That's like, I didn't have a lot of gunfights in those sort of contained like hubs that they throw you into, where it's like there's a bunch of people and you sort of work your way through. For the most part, I'd end up going the whole way through and stealthing the whole thing, unless there's like specific moments where you actually had to go in and start shooting people, which is occasionally things that the game will throw at you. But for this particular playthrough, I'm playing a lot more action. Like I'll go in, I'll try and I'll be a bit more sloppy or a bit dirty, like go in and do it really quickly, and then if a fight breaks out, I'm cool with it. Like, let's rock. Like slow down time, just pop everyone in the head, and off you go. There's a great scene in the TV station, if you remember, and there's some like bodies hanging up on the roof that are that are tied down, and you do a couple of things, and you come back to this room later on, and there's like 8 people come walking through this door. And I remembered from my last playthrough that, oh yeah, those guys come through that door. And so the first time I went through, I put down a trip mine right in front of that door. When did all the things I need to, came back like 5 minutes later, and it triggered that event. They came walking through that door. They all exploded. There was blood all over the place. Like, it was just red floors. There was like a couple of bodies that just like dismembered, and it was like a dude with his leg over his head. It was just I was so close to sending you guys a screenshot of that, because I was in like photo mode, looking around and being like, "This is like, there is
How
so
did you
much."
not? How did you not? I cannot believe you didn't. I'm gutted.
Yeah,
that sounds spectacular.
So yeah, I'm still having fun with that, and just getting to experience that game in a different sort of play style is really cool, because you get to a section, you're like, oh, I know how to solve this. Like, I know roughly where I should be going, and you sort of power through it really quickly. And I'm not really caring if I, like, if I'm spotted, because the slowdown time mechanic means that if I do get in a tricky spot, I can just deal with the consequences pretty easily. And I've finished it. I'm not trying to prove myself that, I'm not playing properly or anything like that. And I'm more than happy to just fuck around and play with it a different way. And I think that's what the accessibility options really enable players to do, is to play a game one way and then play it a second way that is completely different from the first time you played it, without it being like a RPG or something like that, where you're putting points into like a Deus Ex, where it's
all
like
intelligence or
strength
or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's giving me abilities that aren't necessarily abilities that I could just toggle on and off and be like, cool, I'm going to play this game this way.
I
think it's a really interesting way of enabling players to, sort of play it their own way, which is cool. Because I'm presuming that you played it pretty stealthy as well. I mean, that's what the game tries to throw at you, because I didn't use trip mines really. I don't think I used them at all during my first playthrough.
Oh, really? I definitely did, just because they were fucking hilarious. The results of them were always fucking hilarious. Putting them on a dead body, like killing someone out and like out in the open, then putting a trip mine on their body, and then fucking going and hiding like 4 meters away and watching the fucking it's John, and then run up and fucking explode into a bunch of fucking red mist, and you're like, dear God in heaven, that was brutal.
Yeah,
I am a monster. It had to be done. It was very much worth doing. But yeah. Anyway, it's good. Like, I like the idea of using accessibility options to find a new style of play. I definitely use it to make the game easier as opposed to harder.
I turned off weapon sway was the other one.
Oh, all right. So you're just like John Wick through this fucking
because you can
apocalypse or some shit.
You can upgrade weapons so the stability is better. But I was just like, fuck it, like, I've got slow down time. I'll just bam.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's fun playing it like that. So
nice.
I'm digging it. Anyway,
sweet.
What else do we want to talk about while we're going here? I'll kick things off. May as well. There's a game that I think it was Johnny Bravo suggested. You might be able to clarify that, but I think it was. It's called Bridge Constructor Portal, which is Bridge Constructor, and then Portal is like the tagline, or the it's set in the Portal universe, Half-Life, Valve's universe that they created. And Bridge Constructor is sort of like a game that I talked about a few weeks back, called Polybridge. Which is a
Polybridge 2, right?
Yeah, Polybridge 2, which is a bridge building simulator game. This is very much in the same sort of vein as that, but it's a bit more like arcadey. Like, it's throwing in weird types of puzzles and scenarios at you that aren't necessarily like get from one side of the bridge to the other. It's just like there's fucking weird maze-like sort of puzzles that it throws at you, and there's like acid on the floor in certain situations, and then you're using the actual portals to create like holes in the wall to get to another section of the map, and you've sort of got to like chain through different areas and solve these little mini puzzles in between. So sometimes it might be like, oh, you've got to hit this button to open this door, and then you can get through to the exit. And so you got to try and figure out, well, how do I get that door to open? Like, what do I need to do that? Do I need to use a portal to get into that area, or can I build a bridge that allows me to get up there? Yeah, it starts off really basic. Like, one of the things that I didn't like about Polybridge 2 is a lot of the tutorials are in text-based form on just like a tip screen that you kind of click in the menu. Whereas this game is actively trying to teach you every level like a different type of mechanic and how things work, and it escalates really nicely.
Yeah.
And I think that one of my only criticisms is there isn't a way to speed up the actual gameplay, because Polybridge 2, you can kind of set up your bridge or your bridges and to get your convoy or your, whatever it is you're trying to get from one side to the other, and you can like change the speed of the game, which means it goes quicker, and you don't have to sit there and wait for something to break. You can kind of just be like, oh, I know where my point of fail was last time. I can just get to that stage of the level and then see what happens. Whereas in this game, there's none of that. It's just a play and pause button. So it's a little bit slow to get from the start of the map to the beginning. So once you kind of know what you're doing, it's a lot of waiting around and being like, oh, is this going to fail? No, it hasn't failed. So I think it does some things that are really good in relation to what Polybridge has done. I think that the teaching the player how to actually play the game is a lot better. But it's missing some other cool features, like just the basic ability of fast forward, or Polybridge 2 had the, looking and seeing how other people solve that puzzle and what they did, and things like that. But and just, I guess, better ways of understanding where the point of fail was on the thing you're building as well. This will highlight certain areas when they're starting to structurally fail in Bridge Constructor. Like, they'll start highlighting red, and you'll get a good idea of like where the weaknesses are on these bridges, because it gives you a lot of starts off with like basic materials of like, you're just kind of building a floor, like parts of the bridge structure, and there's like a rope system as well, and that's about as far as I've gotten. I think I'm like 15 levels in or something like that. I'm not super far, but I've played a little bit.
Right.
And yeah, it doesn't seem to be as complex or complicated. Like, there's this whole a currency
It sounds like
system.
it might be like slow rolling it a bit, because 15 levels in and only just getting ropes. I don't know. I feel like, because I played Polybridge 1,
Yeah.
and I feel like you had fucking ropes in that game by like level 3 or some shit. They were like, oh yeah, now I'm construct a fucking rope bridge. Construct a fucking suspension bridge. If you want to know how to do it,
how?
Go study engineering at fucking university, dipshit. And you're like, I think I know what I'm supposed. Do I put the rope here? And then everything fucking flaps. You're like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. I barely know what I'm using here. Meanwhile, 15 levels in, you only just got ropes. That sounds like that might be slow playing.
I think there's ropes and like the bridge material, but I don't know if it introduces other materials for you to use. It's introducing other puzzle elements. Like, it's just given me like the little portal turrets, and they shoot at your convoy, and you've got to do something to disable them. But I haven't started that level yet. But like, there was a portal cube, the little fucking cube that everyone loves. There's like one of those, and you need to push it onto a button, and then that opens up a wall somewhere and allows you to go through. Like, they're slowly introducing different mechanics and sort of how to interact with the game, but they haven't given me other materials yet, and maybe that's not something that comes into play. The other thing they haven't introduced is like limitations on what you need to do, because in Polybridge you're given like, oh, you can only use a certain amount of materials, or you've got a budget to try and get through this level. But in Bridge Constructor Portal, it doesn't seem like, at least at the stage I'm at, and that could be because it's something that comes later on, but it doesn't care how much money you've used at this stage. So again, that could be because it's maybe like a slow drip, sort of getting me to learn the systems before it's like, hey, now you got to fucking figure out how to do this with $1,000. And you're like, I don't know. Like, I'm just building triangles everywhere. Settle down. So yeah, I'm digging it. I'm having fun with it. It's got a really cool aesthetic. It looks like a Portal game. It's got a lot of the sounds and themes that people are familiar with. It's trying to throw some of that humor in there as well, which is kind of cool. So yeah, like it's I don't think it's as good a game because it's a little bit finicky. You're trying to it's not as polished on the bridge building side as what Polybridge is. It can be a bit tricky when you grab a part of the bridge and you're trying to move it around and it doesn't really grab the thing you're trying to, or it doesn't move properly, or you're trying to extend the bridge a little bit in a certain direction and it just doesn't really feel like it's what you're trying to do. It just doesn't work sometimes. Whereas Polybridge was, for like all that stuff, worked pretty well. But yeah, yeah, just I guess another suggestion of those types of games. And I think I think in terms of like the ramp, or the difficulty ramp of teaching me how to play is a lot better. So I'm enjoying it a bit more. I'm not looking up guides or anything like that. Like, I'll look at a puzzle and be like, oh yeah, I kind of understand what I'm supposed to do here, and then I'll try a couple of things and eventually get there. And you can go back and try and do it with like they got this convoy system. So initially you're just trying to get this one thing from one side to the other, but you can do like a convoy, and it'll be multiple of the same thing, and that means that it's adding more weight to the bridge, and so you've got to try and make it a bit stronger, make sure it doesn't fall apart and break on you. So you get like rankings, and you can go through and try and play around with that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's cool. I'm digging these types of games because I've not really played a bunch of them before. Like Polybridge is kind of my first foray into that genre. So it's cool to see like what other people are doing in it, and yeah, what that scene is kind of like. But anyway, thanks for the recommendations. I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. Yeah, I looked.
Yeah. Yeah. What else can we talk about? Do you want to talk about Supraland?
Supraland? Yeah, let's do it. Go.
Yeah, so I talked about this a few weeks back. I got on the Supraland bandwagon after you recommended it, and then you talked about the new DLC, which you also played.
Correct. Yes. Played and finished.
Yeah, and that came out over the weekend. The Crashed DLC.
Crash, yeah.
And so I jumped in. I bought it. Started playing it, and I played it for about an hour, and I was like, oh, I thought I finished the game, and I was like, oh, okay. I thought Joab said this was like 8 hours long. Like, he must be really bad at video games, because I smashed through this in about an hour. And then they pulled a little bit of a trick on you. And I was like, okay, cool. There we go.
Recursion. That old chestnut.
Yeah, it's a really interesting DLC, because it kind of throws in, for the most part, a lot of the same mechanics that the other game, or the main game, does, but it's got like a little twist on it. Like, you've got no melee weapons, and you're like, oh, okay, how do I kill things? But now they're giving you the stomp ability, and the stomp is like your main attack, and now that is kind of like how you solve problems. And it's that Metroidvania thing of as you progress sort of through each level, it gives you more and more of these abilities, and sometimes they're stuff you're familiar with, but they interact with the world a little bit differently. And so you're trying to relearn, I guess, how some of this stuff works. and I think the way the actual level or this version of the sandbox is laid out is not as interesting as the main
Certainly.
game,
Yeah.
because it's kind of the original one was a Metroidvania game, but it was very open. Like there was all these different areas you could go to, whereas this one is nowhere near as big, and you kind
It
of
feels.
on
Sorry to interrupt. It
yeah
feels like the first one was this big sprawl,
yeah
and you wound up really wanting those fucking bounce pads to get like back to or from one location to another when you'd solved them.
yeah
But this one feels more like a wheel with spokes going off it, like especially once you make it to this. I don't know how far into the game you wind up
finished
getting, but
yeah
okay, yeah, like the central hub. Yeah, like it's all pretty centralized off one location,
for the
and
most part yeah.
that makes it feel a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We mentioned this. Superland is a first-person puzzle game.
Oh yeah.
But for people who don't know, maybe it's your first time
Hmm.
listening. But yeah, it's a different like style of what they're trying to do. Um, and so I still had a lot of fun with it. It's definitely a lot easier, or at least better paced, in terms of its scale of difficulty. Because
Hmm.
one of my complaints
Oh,
about Superland was I just don't think it did a good job of explaining a lot of the mechanics to you, or like,
hmm.
and that could be just because it's again this giant open world. Are we like, am I in the right spot? Whereas in
Yeah.
this game, it's kind of like it's not like I can't be in the wrong spot because there's not really a lot for me to be doing.
Yeah.
So that maybe because it's a bit more focused, is that I'm not having to second guess myself all the time. Um, but it's yeah, like I felt like they explained things a lot better, and it sort of gave you these tools, and it was understandable what you were supposed to do with them. Because even though the like levels change sort of very slightly every time you go back through it again and again, I think there's like 5 or 6 times it sort of you loop
Yeah.
around on yourself. Um,
Hmm.
it's not always exactly the same. Things change along the way. You're given different tools to kind of solve a lot of this stuff. Um, and so I felt like it just seemed like they learned a lot from the last game, and were like, oh, okay, we can figure out how to engage the player a bit more and sort of guide them as to what they're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, I still have
I
fun with it.
I wonder if it's because you just play Superland, because I went in
Mm,
like when I finished when I was playing this DLC, I thought, fucking hell, man. They have not done anywhere near as good a job at breadcrumbing this shit.
really?
I felt like, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
maybe you were already thinking with Superland type thing, and so you were already in that mindset, and
Uh,
so yeah, it was easier to adjust to the minor changes in the language. Because fuck me, man, I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't remember any of this shit from Superland.
yeah.
What the fuck is like? What? Where's my fucking sword? And I'm like, it took me fucking yonks to work out some of those fucking puzzles. Not the sword shit. I worked out the stomp thing pretty quick, but
Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
where's
man.
my sword? Like, have I missed something?
Mm. Yeah, I definitely thought I had. But yeah, uh, yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe anyway. Did you find red coins?
Red coins.
Yep.
I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Red
Did you find
coins.
yeah.
No, I don't recall any red coins. What am I spending them on?
It is not worth it. Yeah, you spend them on just one of the quests. It is a hidden area in a hidden area, which is pretty wacky,
Red coins.
but it's pretty
No.
classic Superland, really. Yeah. Right near the starting location, there is a hidden area, and
Is it to the left?
there's a
You go
hidden
through the
area.
box.
Yep,
Yeah, and
there's a
then
hidden
on
area through there.
on the box you shoot the thing through the wall, and you jump through the wall bit into there.
Yeah, or you can
Is
just jump.
There's a secret area
jump
there.
regular stuff. Yeah, so that's one secret area, and there's a secret area attached to that secret area.
Yeah, I don't think I went back there after I finished it because I think I got
Right.
there pretty early, and there were like
Yeah.
jump pads that were on fire, and I'm like,
hmm
maybe I get some sort of sponge or something later on.
Yeah.
But it never made me go back there, so I was just like, fuck it.
I think I had to. I think I had to bring the sponge
Right.
from fucking ages away.
Yeah, because the sponge is in a dude's house, and he wants you to water some plants.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one other sponge, but yeah, it
Yeah.
it disappears at some point in the game. I think it burns away or something.
Anyway,
Damn.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's a fun game. I don't
Mhm.
I didn't really get stuck at all. For the most part, it was pretty, I guess, self-explanatory that, um, yeah, I because a lot of the time it's sort of the game, even when you get to a point where, um, you don't have someone with you and you're not sure what to do, it'd come up with like a button, like a prompt on the screen being like, oh, you can do this. Like, this is how you do a stomp or something like that.
Mm.
And so it'd kind of give you an indication that, oh, you probably need to use this thing around here. So I just felt like it was a lot more clearer in terms of what you're supposed to be doing. But that could be just because I played it like the week before. So, well. Anyway,
Yep.
that's Supraland Crash. It's like $20 or 20 USD. Saw a lot of people complaining about that price because it's the same price as the base game, I believe. So I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know if it's,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if it's worth it at that price. If I mean, if you can get the base game, absolutely buy the base game.
Yep.
But I don't know about that price, if it's worth it or not. But I enjoyed it. So,
Cool.
what else do we want to talk about here next? Do you want to pick
Dope.
something?
Yeah, I don't have a lot, eh? Let's do board games.
Okay.
Let's do board games. So I played some more Chronicles of Crime, and so I played the second case in
Yep.
the original series, and it sort of like clarified some shit about board games for me, really. First of all, when I loaded it up, I'd already downloaded all of the cases that were available by default in the app because it's a board game that uses an app, and it's just to follow on. Talked about it a bit last week, but Chronicles of Crime is a game where you're a detective, and it uses QR codes on cards to develop out a storyline.
Yep.
And by doing it that way, it's able to recombine the cards however it likes to essentially create an infinite amount of puzzle crimes for you to solve. Anyway, yeah. So I downloaded all the ones that were available to me last week on the app, and then I went in this week, and there were patches that were updated.
Right.
So yeah, there were updates for them, which yeah, I guess is something you can only really get out of an app-based board game. You can't really patch other board games, and yeah,
You sort of can
how so?
with like expansions and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. But that's not like patching. That's like DLC isn't a patch.
It's sort of can be a patch. Sometimes I've seen ones where it's like it'll be like a sticker and it says like put this over the original card. Like we've changed this or something like that.
Yeah, but like if I have to, have
It's
to
not
buy
free,
fucking Superland Crash, then it's not a fucking patch for Superland, is it? Even if it rectifies some problems with Superland, and they did use the opportunity of Superland Crash to add some like things and fix up some things in Superland. So yeah. Anyway, Yeah, so first there was that, and second of all, yeah, man, these games really fucking hinge pretty critically on the strength of the fucking storytelling, because the second case fell over a little bit, eh? I noticed a lot of fucking typos,
Okay.
which was weird because there was a patch. But also, yeah, like uh, there was like there's a situation that arises where over the course of your like the case, someone dies, someone that you're investigating dies,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, the game like registered that as not existing as opposed to dying. And I looked it up online, and it seems like it's a pretty common bug in the game. Like in that particular case, that a lot of people ran into that. If they
Mhm.
didn't ask someone about this person before they died, you'd never be able to ask them about it.
Yep.
And it's like basically a hard fail point for the fucking case. If you cannot ask about this person, then you cannot progress. So it ends up restart the fucking case, which was pretty annoying. I still really enjoy the game, but yeah, it's one of those things where like if it was all constructed and in the box from the
Mhm.
get-go, you would never ship it with that issue. But because it's hidden behind technology and because technology needs to be bug tested and all that kind of stuff, it's one of those situations where like it has been shipped with a like a hard fail.
Yep.
Yeah, no win scenario like built into the fucking game, which yeah, just isn't good. It didn't take us long to get back to where we were,
Mhm.
and obviously when we did that, we knew some different things about the nature of the case, and like by the time we got to where like that point, we we had all but solved the case anyway. Um, it was literally just like if if a certain like if you were playing fucking Skyrim and a certain person dying meant a door could never be unlocked, and that door being unlocked was literally the end of the fucking game. You'd be like, well, I guess I don't really have any options here. I revert to a save game, or I fucking cheat in some way to unlock the door. In this case, yeah, we just restarted. Um, yeah, it was just a bit annoying. It was, yeah, a
Mm.
little bit disappointing. Like I said, I still really like the game, and I still think it's got like heaps of potential for replayability. I think it works really well in that sense. But yeah, just a bit of a bummer, and I've never seen it in a board game before.
Yep.
The part where the technology fails it. Anyway, so there's that. And speaking of patching games, we played Gloomhaven on the weekends. The regular Gloomhaven crew and me, and we got to. I think we had probably my favorite session of it, like so far. We just we played two more scenarios. It was a little bit goofy. I've altered the way I'm playing to specifically. I think I talked about this last time I talked about Gloomhaven. My main problem is I'm playing a character who burns out really quick, who fatigues really quick. Fatigue, like so. There's a mechanic in Gloomhaven. It's a dungeon crawling co-op dungeon crawler with like 100 plus scenarios, and it's hailed as one of the greatest games of all time. And I've just been finding that a lot of the time I haven't been having fun with it. Um, and I think a lot of it goes like can be put on the fact that my character is just poorly designed. I
Yeah.
think uh, everyone has yeah a certain amount of cards in their hand, and when they run out of those cards, they pass out. They're fatigued and they're out of the game. And the character I'm playing has the fewest cards of anyone in their hand, and so you very careful, very carefully have to manage your moves so that you can actually fucking do anything. Um, And yeah, we reached a scenario we reached a point in one of the scenarios that we were playing where we had these like two, sort of think about like a W, right? So we had these two halls, like a W, and then there was a room at the end. And we started at one end of the W. We had to make it to the room on the end and kill everything within it. And we killed everything. So each V in the W. How good is English? Each V in the W was a different room. And so we killed everything in the first room, and then we killed everything in the second room. And I said to the guys, "Hey, so we're in a bit of a pickle because I am going to fatigue just moving to the next room. Like literally, the action of moving to the next room is going to fatigue me, because what happens is you've got to play." You've got like movement cards, and I've got movement cards in my deck, and those allow you to move a certain amount of spaces. But otherwise, if you can't use those, then your movement has to be is relegated to two. And if you don't want to fatigue, you keep your cards from burning out, so you use these cards that you can replenish the two twos. And so using two twos, I could get to one like halfway through the room, or I could use a card that I burn out to make it about 3/4, 2/3 of the way through the room. But it wouldn't matter. I still wouldn't reach a point where the door was open before I passed out. I'm like, guys, honestly, this is pretty fucked. I'm going to pass out. I'm gonna, like, my character, if we were to imagine it in character, is gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit
have a nap
against this wall for a bit, and then have a sleep. And you guys do the rest of this shit. But also, like, the cards I was holding were my fucking atom bomb cards. Like, I had been holding onto them, and not wasting my big fucking move cards, my like fucking Goku Kamehameha fucking moves and shit, like trying to play pretty conservatively, but I was now going to be punished because all we had to do was move through this V space. And so we sort of talked through it as a fucking group, and we're like, look, there is literally, it's not like we failed at the combat. Literally all we're doing, and we can do this at any pace we like, is walking through a fucking empty room. So why don't we just set up at the next fucking door? Like, why don't we just do that? And it turned out like I wasn't the only one who was going to fucking fatigue before we reached the door. Like everyone else sort of did the maths on it. Like that, the thing about having the fewest amount of cards is that you're always in Gloomhaven, is that you're always like fucking keenly aware of how quickly you're about to fucking fatigue, and like or when fatigue is basically inevitable. So I'm just sort of like fucking always on top of that shit. But as the other guys did the maths, they worked out that we were going to fail this scenario defeated by two slightly longer than average fucking rooms.
Yeah.
We were undone because we had to walk an extra 40 meters. And so we just fucking set up at the next one. And that, I think for me, what it clarified in my mind is that like a video game, right, would do a patch, would release a patch that fixed particularly broken, like balancing patches, like they would release a patch that makes certain characters weaker or stronger and stuff like that. But you can't do that with a board game. Obviously, expansion packs notwithstanding. Like my Spellweaver character is always going to be the way she is, and like she's literally designed that way. Like there is a way to play this Spellweaver. I've seen like I looked it up. I went and fucking Googled it. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to play this character? And I was far from the first person to ask this question. And a lot of people, a lot of fucking answers on Board Game Geek or on Reddit were like,
"Don't play a Spellweaver."
Yeah, this is pretty much the hardest character to play as. But one person went through and broke down every single character, and there is a way to play a Spellweaver where you have, I think it's like you are the third last character to fatigue. But what it involves is doing the hyper basic moves every single fucking turn and like maximizing your fatigue in that sense. In which case, like playing as a Spellweaver is effectively the same as like, I don't know, if I Joe Gilroy were to walk through fucking Gloomhaven, like, because you never do any fucking spells and you can't move very far. You're this fucking wizard that can fucking like teleport to the other side of a fucking room and drop a fucking bomb that kills most of everything in a room, which is exactly like we set up at the last room in this scenario. And the first thing I did was I teleported into the fucking end of the room. I went super slow, teleported in the end of the room, got the chest in the room, which got me 20 gold. The lads went crazy about that. And then I dropped a fucking bomb on everyone and I killed like 4 things in like one fucking go. And everything else was super damaged. And I had 1 turn left after that. And I was gone. Like I was gone ski. I had not left myself any options after that. So you're this like fucking, you are basically Goku from Dragon Ball. You do a fucking instant transmission and then you drop a fucking spirit bomb on some cunts. But instead, you walk everywhere and you like slap fight. You slap box some things. And you're like, and then you fucking do nothing. That's how you play a Spellweaver, and you play through the entire fucking scenario, and you're the third last person to fucking fatigue. Like, what the fuck is the point at that point? That's fucked. So yeah, I don't play that way. But I did in the second scenario, I adjusted a little bit to try to manage my fatigue a little bit more, just so that like, because I don't, like I said, I don't want to impose my will upon everyone. I don't want to be the Joab fucking sitting there going like, yeah, I picked a dumb fucking character and now I'm gonna fucking make sure everyone fucking hears about every goddamn game. So I try my best to like keep things, I don't know, fucking positive and make sure everyone else is having fun. And so yeah, I altered my playstyle a little bit to be a little bit more, I don't know, fatigue friendly. And yeah, it was a little bit duller, like certainly a little duller as a character. I was less Goku and a little bit more, I don't know, fucking Gohan, but like teen Gohan when he's being a fucking dipshit. And so yeah, like capable of amazing things, but not really doing them all that much. And you're like, for fuck's sake, Gohan, could you just do the fucking good shit? Anyway,
what's this stat called? Is it like stamina or something?
I think it's literally called fatigue, and yeah, it's literally just tied to the amount of cards you got.
Why don't you just change the rule? Like give yourself an extra fucking
give myself an extra card. It's tricky because all of the Spellweaver's cards are so fucking powerful. So I mean, if we were to give me an extra card that was like a 2/2, like we were just to say this card is always a 2/2 or some shit, then maybe. But there's all sorts of like the cards themselves have all these fucking considerations going into them. Like they're not just, it's not just the 2/2 part. There's also like the initiative rating and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of balancing that goes, like it feels like a game that is extremely like they've paid a lot of attention to how it's balanced, and I think it's like the Spellweaver in particular is one of those things, one of those ones where on paper or in an Excel spreadsheet, right? You would look at it and you'd go, I mean, it says here that they're capable of being the third last of fatigue, right? Like we crunch the numbers. This makes sense. I think it makes sense, but in practice, it doesn't. Like the process of playing that way is so fucking boring that nobody would ever fucking do it. It also specifically requires that you bring, there's like a card you have to bring at all times. So technically, you only get to select 7 cards. There's literally no scenario wherein, like, if you don't bring one of these cards, you are out in 4 turns. Like, it's over. Like, you fatigue 4 turns into a game. If you bring this card, you have the potential to fatigue 26 turns into a game or something like that. Like, the difference is staggering. So, just by default, the Spellweaver has less options, and is more inclined to fatigue. It's just, I think it's a design oversight. One of those things where it's justified, in a spreadsheet, but in practice, it just feels hyper shitty.
Yeah.
That said, yeah, like I was saying, like it's the most fun I've had playing Gloomhaven yet. And I think it's because I'm playing with a bunch of dudes who are just like pretty fucking chill about like we've all played fuck tons of games. We all understand games on a really fucking deep level. And I think we're all pretty like open to the idea that no, there's no perfect game. Every game's going to have flaws, and so if we think we see some way to make a small fix, we may as well fucking do it. So yeah, it was good. I'm very keen for the next one. I'm getting very invested in, like, I think that's what Gloomhaven does really well is it gets you invested in the campaign. You know, I'm very invested in my character and the story we're going, like the path we're taking it down. We're teeing up another fucking boss fight. Hopefully, they're always fucking hairy and they're very exciting. And because it's a boss, like the boss fights are sort of where the Spellweaver gets unleashed. Like, because there's not a lot of fucking moving around. You're sort of just in a room and you fight some giant monster, and the only thing you need to worry about is not getting hit because as the Spellweaver, you got fucking no health. I got fucking. I think it was in the second scenario. I got one hit killed. This giant fucking earth demon wandered over and hit me for like 150% of my entire health pool, and I'm like, and I was also down to like no cards, so I couldn't burn a card to save myself. Which is something you can like straight burn a card, which means you'll fatigue a little faster, but you can negate all damage. I think you can only do it once per scenario. Anyway, I couldn't do it because I didn't have enough cards to actually make that work. So I was just like, oh, I'm fucking dead, until Nate pointed out that I'd already put on frost armor. I just hadn't, like, it hadn't been burnt out yet, and so I managed to negate all armor on that. That was pretty fucking cool. Like, yeah, it's a co-op game, and we play it full co-op. And I think we made like every time I think I've spoken about this before. Every time we fucking learn some new rules in Gloomhaven, we learn some new way that we've accidentally made the game easier on ourselves. Right. The one we learned most recently was we freely exchange gold. But apparently you're not supposed to do that under any circumstances. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's a fucking co-op game. Like, get the fuck out of here. So like, I went and got 20 gold out of this treasure chest, and it's supposed to be just all my gold. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. No, I'm fine. I gave some to one of the guys because his mission in that that scenario was to not take any gold, so I gave him a bit of gold at the end. He doesn't get anywhere near as much as the rest of us did, but yeah. I'm definitely warming more to Gloomhaven every time I play it. But yeah, that's that.
Cool. Let's talk about Call of Duty Warzone then.
Oh yeah,
because we've been playing a little bit of that specifically. I think you've been playing a bit more than me. But the Juggernaut mode that they put in, this is one of their sort of events that they're doing every week. Has it gone already? Because today is generally when they roll out new patches, right?
It was gone yesterday, so yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Juggernaut mode was where they would drop these crates on the map randomly throughout the game, and teams would need to go there and interact with the crate. After a few seconds, the person that's interact with it turns into the Juggernaut ability, which is this giant, like, armor-built dude with a minigun on his arm. And yeah, that's the mode. And it's just kind of like, well, I don't know, like I like these sort of little playlist updates that sort of doing every week that is like a spin on the main game. It's an interesting way of just testing even different mechanics that they could put in, as opposed to just rolling it into the game. What did you think of what they were doing in there?
Yeah, I love limited item events, and I thought the fucking jug mode was hilarious. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hyper exploitable, I thought. But like they didn't even attempt to balance it. They just sort of fucking threw a cat in amongst the pigeons to see what would happen. But yeah, like nevertheless, I had a lot of fun with it. Me and Nate played a bunch of games, and we played a bunch more with you. And yeah, just like ludicrous shit. Like the amount of stuff you can get away with, the amount of stuff you can you just see what you can do. And you like it. I think it maybe a limited time event. Like it wasn't there for that long at all. Yeah, so by the time we'd all sort of started to learn some things about it, like you can't mince a Juggernaut with the helicopter blades. I absolutely tried. It doesn't work. They don't care. Or you can't run one over. It doesn't hurt it enough. Yeah, like there's all sorts of. You basically just have to shoot a fucking Juggernaut when it can't see you, and that's the way to do it. Or run it with a shield because it can't shoot through the shield. But yeah, it was some funny shit. Like we just seen what we could fucking get away with. We had some really fucking good games. Like it does feel like if you don't have a Juggernaut and there are only a few teams left and any of those teams have a Juggernaut, it feels like you know who's going to win that game, but shit. It's not guaranteed. It's certainly not guaranteed. And yeah, I think they did a really good job with it. Like, I'm keen to check it out. Apparently, the new mode that they put in is I can't remember what it's called. It's the one where if you've got $4,500 in the bank, you don't go to Gulag. You just get respawned in the air.
Yeah, I think that's in trios.
Yeah, so trios again. Chug trios, and yeah, this trios.
Stimulus trios, it's called.
Stimulus. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very interesting one. I think it'll be probably pretty entertaining. Very interested to see how it plays out. I know it was in solos for a little while. I believe Racy and LJM are having a play on it separately, obviously in solos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of cycling through a bunch of limited time events, but I'd love to see something like Jug stay a little longer.
Right.
I'd prefer like quads, 200-person quads just rotated out. I'd rather see Jug than 200-person quads. 200-person. There's too many people. Oh my god. There's so many. It just feels like games take forever. You've played through like the 22 minutes or whatever a regular fucking game takes, and you look up at the player count. You like look at the top right of your screen, and there's still fucking 110 people left. You're like, oh my fucking god, how long is this game gonna take? Like it just fucking goes on and on and on. Yeah. I was full tilting last night. Oh my god, I was playing with the third person crew, and the last thing I did, I grabbed a most wanted to fuck up, to grab the rest. Like all three of the boys died. Grabbed a most wanted to get them all back in. Fucking put C4. I went to the TV station, went up the ladder, hit it out, put a C4 at the top of the fucking ladder. And dude comes up. I pop the C4 and empty into him. The C4, and I got to see this up close and in detail on the kill cam. The C4 didn't even take off half of his armor. Not even half. What the fuck was the point of that? It's as Nate was saying. I think there's like a fraction of a moment of invincibility when you get off the ladder where the game doesn't register splash damage, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and so it negated like half of the fucking damage of the C4. But if I'd just been ADS'd, I could have just mowed him down instead, because I had a fucking LMG.
Perk, maybe
EOD. Yeah, he might, maybe, but it doesn't. I don't give a fuck. Like, it just shouldn't have gone down like that. It was so fucking annoying. So yeah, full tilt after that. It was pretty shit. Anyway, yeah. Still enjoying Warzone, but yeah, I just wish I hadn't remembered that game. I was so fucking annoyed. I'm annoyed again just thinking back to it. It shouldn't have gone down like that. I was like 15 seconds from completing the most wanted as well. I should have just run away and gotten in the helicopter and flown off. But I was so certain that the C4 strategy would work out. Apparently not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Speaking of Battle Royale games, Ubisoft dropped a surprise Battle Royale game they've been working on. I think they're a little bit late on this one. Anyway, it's called Hyper Scape. And I got into I think it was a closed technical alpha or something they were calling it. Where to start on this thing, man? Because it's just so much, I don't know how to talk about it. So basically, I guess the setting is like you are inside of like this virtual reality or this virtual world where people like battle it out in this space known as, what was it called? It's called Crown Rush. The particular mode that I was playing was a 3-person mode where you start off above the map, and it's not like traditional Battle Royale games where you're in some sort of plane or vehicle that flies across the screen. You basically start off in a corner of the map, and you can drop anywhere in your drop pod. So you kind of just fly in, you get from one, you can go wherever you want. There's no like set path that you can only get to. And so you land in this area and you start picking up weapons. There are weapons throughout the game. And there are what they call like hacks, which are these items that you can pick up on the ground, and they're kind of like your abilities. And so the game feels like this weird mix between like it's
a hero shooter?
Sort of, yeah, it's not even like Overwatch, because you're not like selecting characters or anything like that. It's just kind of you pick up stuff in the world and you get abilities. So it's sort of like a hero shooter, but then also mixed in with some like old school, really fast paced, like like Unreal Tournament or Quake. Like it's fast. It's probably the fastest battle royale game that I've played. Uh, and so you land in this virtual world, and there are buildings everywhere. Each player has like a double jump on them. They can automatically double jump, and you can get extremely high in the game. Like there are giant buildings, and you stand on top of them easily. Like there is no, it's a vertical game. It's not like you're running around on the ground and in and out of buildings and shooting each other. You're moving everywhere. It's extremely easy to get from the ground up to the top of this building. You can even get a triple jump if you wanted to. So it's very movement based, heavily movement based. But it's really arcadey. It's not like a PUBG or a Call of Duty Warzone or anything like that. It plays more like I said, like an Unreal Tournament sort of first person shooter type thing. But it's also extremely bullet spongy. Like everybody takes a lot of damage to go down. But because of the movement system is so quick, you can like engage into a fight, and then the person you're shooting at has just fucking jumped away and bounced off somewhere, and you're like, okay, they're gone. And you can try and chase them down, and it's very chaotic, and it's just extremely fast. Like it feels like you're in a fight, and you might be in a fight with one person, and then you lose them, and you're in a fight with a completely different person, and then you lose them, and you're fighting the next person again because they've healed up, and it's just chaotic. What else is there? So the way the weapon system works is you pick up weapons in the game, and every time you pick up another weapon that's the same as the one you've got, you can pick up 2 at a time. It upgrades that weapon, and you can upgrade it multiple times, like 4 or 5 times. And each time you do it, it'll change the stats on it. It may get a different type of scope, or maybe it does more damage, or it's got more ammunition that you can hold. Things like that. So you're picking up weapons in the game. It's not like a rarity of like, oh, I just found this purple whatever. It's not like that. You just kind of pick up the weapon you want, and then you go find more of that weapon that you want. So you could have like a sniper rifle and a shotgun or something, and you go looking for more of that same thing. And that's how the hack system works as well. These abilities that you get, you pick up a hack, and it could be like it'll heal friendly units in a certain radius. And so you might pick that up and then go try and find more of that hack. And every time you do that, it'll upgrade it, and it could be, it'll reduce the cooldown on it. And so now you don't have to wait for that to cool down as much. Or there was one I picked up which was like an invisibility, so it turned me invisible for a certain amount of time. And you can go then find a bunch of those and just upgrade it throughout the match and try and make it more powerful. The way the circle works is there isn't one. What they do is the districts around the map start to sort of like disintegrate. They change. It's a really interesting style or aesthetic to it, whereas they start to like fade away type thing till eventually the actual play area kind of just disappears. It's not like you're in a zone where, oh, you're outside the zone, you're dying now. It kind of just slowly fades away to the point where you can't play in that area anymore. And then eventually the floor will just fucking disappear, and that district will just be gone. So it's slowly forcing players into a certain area. And then once that happens, you get this thing on the map called a crown. And if somebody holds the crown for, it's I think 45 seconds at this stage, they win the game. Or if all the other teams are eliminated, the last team wins the game as well. So a little bit of differences. I guess the battle royale concept, it sort of makes it a bit more King of the Hillish as well, where you've got to try and grab this thing. But it also shows everybody on the map, like, this person has got it, go get them. So it's this thing of like, do I try and win the game and get the crown and do it that way, like try and end it really quickly, see if I can hold off, or do I bait the crown out, or do I just try and kill everybody one at a time? So it throws in some sort of alternate ways of winning a match, I guess. I guess that's sort of like the other thing is there's a like modifiers in the game as well. and it's tied to Twitch integration. And so people that are watching streamers in the game are able to vote for this modifier system. So one of the games I was playing in low gravity started happening in the district I was in. And so all of a sudden, when I jumped, I could float up to the top of the buildings and jump around and all that sort of thing. So they're doing like weird Twitch integration stuff to modify or affect the game when people are playing it. Yeah, I've played about 5 games so far, and I don't like it at all. I feel like it's just I don't know what it is about it. It's just I'm just not having fun with it. It's not a like I think the problem for me is it feels like it's too bullet spongy. Like everybody just takes so much damage to try and down. And because it's so easy to try and escape or to just move around, and someone might have an ability that turns them into a ball and it bounces them off, and while they're in this ball they're protected and they can't take damage, and so they just trigger that and they're fucking out of there. And unless you've got a whole team like focusing on this one fucking ball and like chasing it down, it's hard. And so you've got like you engage with one team and then you're fighting one player, they take a bunch of damage and they just run away and they start healing again. And so it's just like constant backwards and forwards. And then so if you do down somebody on the other team, there's this like respawn system, which the way that works is every time you down somebody, whether it's on another team or if somebody dies on your team, they leave behind like this this beacon. And when you die, you become like this invisible entity and you're able to see everything around you. Like you're playing, you just can't do damage. You can fucking run off and go spot people on the enemy teams. You can ping stuff in the world because it's got a ping system. Of course, every game has ping systems right now. And so your job is to try and, I guess, relay information to the other team, but also you want to try and find people that have died. You ping their beacon and that notifies your team that like this is where I can be revived. And so you can activate that beacon, and if they come to that spot and then interact with it, they can get you back into the game and off you go again. So it's very easy to get back into the game as long as you have a member, someone in your team still able to initiate that that revive station or whatever they call it. Then this respawn station, then it's you're back in and off you go again. And so it just feels extremely like chaotic, and I just feel like it's too bullet spongy, too arcadey for my liking. I just don't I just don't know who this is really for, because it doesn't like if you told me that Ubisoft is making a battle royale game, like this is not what I thought they would have put out this late into the game. Like it just doesn't feel like it's doing anything exciting or special. I thought they would have at least, like, props to them for doing something that is pretty different to what everyone else is doing. But this isn't what I want. Like, this is the battle royale I want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we heard like, oh, Call of Duty is making a battle royale game, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll play that. That'd be sick. Like I like that system they're doing. I'm all about that style of play. Like that's awesome. Like if they said, oh yeah, Ubisoft is doing a battle royale and we're gonna do something that is gonna be, military shooter, something like that, then I'd be in that as well. That'd be cool. But this is like this weird sci-fi virtual reality battle royale game that is like, I don't know who the audience is for. It's really strange. Like I don't know what they're trying to tap into, because it's not even it's not like the Fortnite audience or anything like that. It's just something completely different. Like it's not this bright colored over the top sort of aesthetic. It's like all the buildings are pretty much identical. Everything looks the same. It doesn't really matter what building you go into. There's not really any detail around the environment. It's just kind of like a three-tone color. It's like a blue-white sort of environment. Like there's some cool ideas in there with like the districts disintegrating, and the way that like weapon upgrades work. I think that's a really interesting idea of like finding the same sort of weapons or abilities throughout the world and then like making them level you up. That stuff is interesting, but I just feel like it's too it takes way too long to take anybody out in that game. And it just seems too like hectic and frantic, and what other
How do you
words you can throw around for too fast paced.
I'm watching some videos from like streamers, Aculite. I'm watching Dr. Lupo at the moment, and I'm trying to work out like how do you know what abilities someone has before you run into them? I can't work it out.
Like on the other team?
Yeah.
I don't think you can. You just fight them.
Like that's but the reason Apex works is like because if you run into a fucking lifeline, you know it's a fucking lifeline, and you can't let her get away and fucking drop a fucking heal bot.
Yeah,
because she'll just heal up. But I'm watching Aculite fucking heal himself every 4 fucking seconds, and like, how would you know? And you'd be like, hang on, haven't I fucking punted this cunt? Haven't I spent the last fucking 2 minutes punting into this motherfucker, and he's back at full health already? Like, okay, well, I guess he's got it looks like a gold version of a fucking heal thing. So, like, yeah, so you're just supposed to work it out on the fly, but like that's insane. Like even in fucking COD, you can tell what weapons people have based on a wide array of fucking things. So like if you're running into a fucking gunfight, like running into third party someone, you can tell what they've got because you're like, oh yeah, he's got a I can hear we're going to be running into probably a foul DMR, or yeah, these dudes got SMGs. Like we should engage them at fucking distance. You can hear it, right? Like there's all sorts of fucking indications of these things that. I mean, obviously, I'm watching this on mute, so I don't know if there's a massive sound tell when someone keeps healing themselves every 4 fucking seconds. But
I don't know.
Maybe. Like, I don't know if that would be enough. I just don't understand how like there's not enough information. It's pretty bananas to me. I don't know. That's really fucking weird.
Like it's not
some of these like the heal and the teleport also seem desperately overpowered. Like holy shit. The amount of mobility the teleport gives Aculite and the amount of health back and the rate at which it does it is just fucking crazy.
Because you can disengage from fights extremely quickly.
To
get
what's with the 3 skulls thing? I keep seeing 3 skulls come up. Are they trying to get?
I think you get notified when you kill someone on a specific team, like how many teammates they've got left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just
like I'm not a game developer, but this it doesn't seem like they've been working on this that long. Like it just seems very basic in terms of what it's trying to do. Like everything kind of looks the same. It's very, like I said, like 2 or 3 tone like colors. It's all the buildings are kind of the same. There's not really much in the buildings. Like it just doesn't feel like it's been worked on that long, which is so strange to me. I just don't see this taking off. It's supposedly going to be a free-to-play game. I think they should hold off and try something else because I don't like it. I don't know who it's for. I just didn't have fun with it. I mean, it's possible that they come out with some different modes and try something else, or maybe they start tweaking some of these values to make people.
Right, so my question is, right, there is one battle royale that neither of us play much.
Fortnite.
Do you think it's designed to appeal to that sort of player?
No.
No?
Like, I don't think Fortnite is as bullet spongy as this. Nowhere near.
Yeah. It's certainly got a far more interesting, engaging art style as well compared to this. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to be able to tell where. I can't even tell when they cut, like when they jump cut to a new fucking segment of play. I'm struggling to tell when they do that because the inside of every fucking building looks the same. So yeah, it looked like to me Lupo jumped out of a window and then like jumped through into the same building he was just in, but he was I think it was a smash cut. Anyway, it is very one note.
Yeah, like there's these weird gold windows on a lot of the doors and windows as well, and you kind of like smash them. And I don't understand why that is there. You just kind of can't see in it. But have you seen like this weird effect that they do where the world starts disintegrating and the textures on the world start going blue? So you kind of know that you're not supposed to be there. Eventually, like the walls and the buildings start to disappear. So there's no cover anymore. So the people that are in the zones that are still, working properly, they're able to shoot you a lot easier. Like that stuff is interesting, but there's just I don't know, man. Either I was using weapons that I shouldn't be using, or they weren't as upgraded as what I thought. It just felt like every time I got in a fight, just people would just soak up so much damage, or fights would last so long. It was just it's possible they get to a point where it's a lot better, and they start tweaking a lot of this stuff, but it's just not really. There's just not a lot there for me to keep me engaged. That other games have to. Like, it feels good to jump around. The movement's really cool. There's like wall jumping and being able to mantle on top of stuff. You can probably see like it's very quick. Like the pace of it is very fast. It's like I said, I think it's the fastest battle royale that I've played. It's just not. It's because it's so quick. It's easy to disengage from fights. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know on this one. Think it's got some work.
Yeah. Fair enough. Cool. Well, we weren't allowed to play it in Australia, so.
Yeah, right.
Oh well.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, what else we got here? The Hunter. Call of the Wild.
The Hunter.
You seem to be addicted to this. It's telling me, because I looked the other day when I fired it up on the side of Steam. It tells you who else is playing it, and it says you've played 20 hours recently.
Yeah,
which is nearly as much as I've played entirely.
Meanwhile, Drew and Heath have played 28 hours recently. So
they're in it as well now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all over it. They're in deeper than we are.
But also, they were giving me shit the other day for look who's off playing by themselves, or I don't know, like.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, dude. I started this movement. Like, piss off.
I jumped in because we've had like 5 people in one server rolling around. It's pretty good. We had Frisco, Squirrel, Dr. E3, and Heath, as well as myself, rolling around playing all in the same server. It's a lot of fun. But I jumped in the other day. Into the channel to see what they were up to, and they were playing single player fucking missions. Well, they weren't playing together. They were sitting in a server, sitting in a Discord channel together, playing fucking single player missions. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm making a multiplayer server, and everyone will jump in. They reckon that's the fast way to make money, is to play single player, because you do these missions where you just spot deers or some shit.
Yeah, I've been doing missions. That's what I'm playing.
No, I don't do it. I don't play single player at all. All multiplayer, all day, baby. I think it's one of those games where it sort of reminds me of DayZ because there is so much downtime.
Yeah,
but it's
one
not
more relaxing than DayZ.
That's
a
what it
chill
is,
game.
right? It's very zen.
Mm.
It's like you don't feel like it's time wasted because you're sort of just out in the wilderness. So you're like hiking over some fucking, I don't know, some fucking hill or whatever, rolling around through some trees, surrounded by nature. And you like very, very, very occasionally you'll hear a fucking loud gunshot. You're like, okay, here we go. It's popping off now. But otherwise, yeah, you're just rolling around trying to find some stuff to shoot, and that's about it. So on more than one occasion, I have looked at the clock and noticed that I've spent a couple of hours when I'd like internal clock-wise thought I'd spent about 30 minutes. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, well, fair enough. So that's how I think I've gotten to 20 hours so quickly because I in my head I've played about 5. The quadruple it. Anyway, we've been playing multiplayer challenges. I don't know. I saw you were playing multiplayer yesterday, but I don't know if you're playing any challenges with the boys. You just sort of set up a challenge under the multiplayer menu option, and you go, like you let it go. I wish you could make your own challenges. I think that'd be really good. Because what I would like to do is create a challenge where there is a minimum points threshold. Because we play the Leighton Lake challenge. Leighton Lake is the first location that you go to in the game.
Yeah.
That's I actually really like it as a location. I think it's sort of a good mix of everything. You know, there are bears, there are coyotes, deer, a couple of different deer,
elk,
moose, and about 400,000 too many rabbits. And
love rabbits, easy money. Rabbits easy money.
Yeah. But yeah, fucking, you just like you get familiar with certain areas, and so I like to go back to Leighton Lake more often than not. We set up a challenge, and there's the Leighton Lake challenge has you got to shoot a black-tailed deer, a white-tailed deer, a moose, a elk, a bear, and a coyote. You got to shoot one of each.
That's some movement. You got to go some places.
Yes, you do. There is traversal. The way we play it, the way
no fast travel. No fast travel.
Oh, you're absolutely allowed to fast travel, but you have to declare where you're fast traveling to before you do it. It's a first in, best dressed situation. So the first person to declare it gets to go there. And you can't fast travel to somewhere if someone else is within 500 meters of it, because otherwise it gets a bit cluttered. The first challenge I did with Frisco on the safari, this motherfucker ghosted me for fucking 3 kilometers and then fucking shot the fucking wildebeest that I fucking spotted. I fucking come up on a wildebeest. I spot it with my fucking binocs so I can work out the good one to shoot.
Yeah.
Mostly just which one I was going to shoot. I want the juicy fucking wildebeest. And as I'm taking my fucking gun out, bang! Frisco fucking runs off, and there's a big fucking stampede of fucking wildebeest. He runs off after the fucking thing, and I'm like, all right. Glad I could find that for you. So yeah, we've implemented new fucking rules to stop from people being friscoed, which is what it's called when someone deliberately snakes your fucking animal.
Nice.
But anyway, we play the Leighton Lake. The best thing about the challenge is that when you're just playing regular old The Hunter in multiplayer, Heath's having a good time. Heath's having a good old chill time where he just sort of fucking chillaxes and hunts some things, maybe he gets them, and maybe he doesn't, and everything's cool, and he's just like fucking, he's the dude. And as soon as you turn on a challenge, it is like you have unleashed the beast.
You flick the evil switch on the back of the Child's Play doll.
Exactly. He fucking hates himself. He hates the game. He hates everyone in it. Every single animal. Everything's out to get him. He just spends the entire time fucking cursing. He's just like fucking pissed. He's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking give up on this one. I don't care anymore. I just don't fucking care about coyotes anymore. I don't care. And then like fucking 5 minutes will pass, and then he'll kill a coyote, and I'm like, oh, you got your coyote. He's like, I don't fucking care. And like you'll be like, oh, hey, I saw some moose up this way. You're like, oh, I found a fucking moose, and I'll go fucking shoot that fucking moose. I'm not going up that fucking. I'm like, all right, well, fair enough. And then like the challenge ends. You're like, well, anyway, might go up to where you saw all those moose and see if I can bag me one of those moose. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, did you drink some sort of fucking potion, Mr. Dr. Jekyll?
Yeah,
like,
what got hit on the head,
on
right?
Here? It's fucking amazing. It is so entertaining.
Yeah.
Me and Dr. E3 have been going fucking back and forth on winning challenges. We did one in the Medved, the Siberian forest, and there isn't like a Medved challenge, so we just had to pick one particular animal. I picked brown bears, and then all of us we must have spent like 45 minutes not seeing even the tracks of a bear. And I'm like, oh, fuck this shit. And I jump on my ATV and I go, and I'd found a cliff, and my plan was to like fang my ATV off the cliff and see if I could do a sick jump. And I missed the cliff. I got like half the cliff, but didn't really get the jump that I wanted. And I was about to turn around and go all the way, like go the laborious fucking route back up the fucking cliff. And I saw a bear on the ice, and then I saw another bear, and it looked like all of the bears on the server were basically in this one location. Like they were just having a party in the middle of this fucking ice. So I shot one bear. It was the easiest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. It was just like sitting there's no trees. It's like in the middle of a fucking lake, just sitting in the middle of a lake, sitting there waiting. And yeah, instant vital organ hit. It piss bolts. The other two fucking bears piss bolt in vaguely the same direction. So I'm like, well, I'm fucking good, boys. I've found some bears. There's bears here. You should probably head in this direction. Because like you're not allowed to fast travel on top of someone, but you can like run up on them. Like if they know where all the fucking mooses are and all you need is a moose, just fucking run up to where they are. Like easy peasy. But yeah, no. Anyway, fucking I'm chasing these bears, like bag one, bag the second. And when I bag the second, I'm like, boys, I've found more bears. Heath is losing it. Like absolutely. He's like, are you fucking kidding? I'm gonna fucking quit this game. I can't. All I've fucking seen is boars. I'm like, all right, yeah. So I bagged the third bear and win the challenge. And there's another set of bear prints. Like there's more bears in this location. So I hunt that one down. And I bagged that bear.
Are you taking all the bears away from them so they can't get any more bears?
I think I am. I think I'm like robbing them of bear opportunities. But yeah, I bagged the fourth bear just to flex on them. And as soon as I finish tracking that one, there's another set of bear footprints. Like, there's more bears here, boys. And it didn't go down well. They weren't happy. They weren't happy to hear more bears. But yeah, anyway, good times with the challenges. Yeah, like I don't only like I like the mix. I like to play without a challenge, but I also like to play with the challenges on. Like I don't have to have like challenges all the time. I like just fucking fighting about and hunting shit down, but challenges certainly spice things up. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play any challenges. I jumped in with Drew last night. He tried one challenge and it wasn't working. I think the whole server was just fucked, to be honest. Whatever he was doing wasn't working. I wasn't getting any animal calls, like at all.
Oh, okay.
I was in this thing for, I don't know how long we played, 2 or 3 hours. Not once did I hear any animal calls. And then
Weird.
I was tracking something that I'd shot like a moose. And because I couldn't hear any animal calls, I would never knew how fucking close this thing was. Like, because I wouldn't get any warnings.
Right. Yeah.
And it was constantly running away from me, even though I was walking everywhere. Like, it was constantly walking away from me. And eventually, it just literally disappeared. Like, there was footprints going one way, then there was some poop, and then it was just gone. Like, it had disappeared, vanished. So that was cool. I was literally chasing this thing for like fucking 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Then I didn't see any animal footprints for about another 30 minutes. I walked past an area and there was a floating gun, just like a gun, just in the fucking sky next to me. Yeah, it completely like flipped out. I tried like restarting the game and coming back in. I think it was hosting or something. Just nothing was working at all for me. It was extremely strange. But I've been playing, a bunch of the single player. I've been doing the lake challenges and doing all of them, getting stacks of XP. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's my sort of go-to game at the moment where I'm just during the day I'll jump in and play a couple hours and just fuck around in there. That first map is so big. It's enormous. I feel like I'm maybe just over halfway of going through it. It's it's nuts. But I'm enjoying like learning all of the like where I'm supposed to shoot things and with what ammo and how close I can get to something and all that sort of stuff. Because sometimes I'll hit, like I've gotten to the point now where I'm pretty good with all the deers. I can pretty much one shot most of the deers. The bears I can do one shots. I've just gotten to like moose and elks, and I'm sort of struggling with them a little bit. I got to try and figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with them. But
what's the struggle? Like the specific distance, or
just like where I should be shooting them, and
yeah,
like where's the good spots to drop them really quickly so I get the most points.
Yeah, right. I found moose to be super easy once you get the right gun, but elk are a pain in the crotch. They always seem to fucking run forever. I don't know. I've gotten really good at killing moose.
Yeah.
And not having them run fucking yonks. But yeah, I don't know about elk. They always seem to fucking just keep going on and on and on. I still don't have a gun capable of doing class 9 animals. I've got 4 to 8, and I've got 3 to 7, and I take my my pistol for 2. But I don't have anything for 9. And
I don't
not really
either.
Sure. Yeah,
I think my rifle score is too low at this stage, or my level or something like that. I don't think I'm level 16 at this stage, 17.
Speaking of 9s, remember we played the savannah where we were trying to hunt lions? Fucking jumped in the fucking savannah with Heath, and I'm like, oh yeah. So when me and Luke are doing it, we're pretty sure, like before we had to bail, we're pretty sure there were lions in this area near this fucking lake. Taking him back over towards that lake where, near the where we heard
big
the
lake.
fucking.
It's the biggest lake on the map.
Yeah, exactly. And so I roll over, and he's like farting about getting fucking ammo or some shit, and then he comes in after me. And he's like wandering down to me. He's like, "Oh my god!" And then I hear these two booms, and he shot a lion. Like fucking, I don't know, 90 seconds is a fucking game. He shoots a lion. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting. Meanwhile, if it had been a lion hunting challenge, he would have been fucking losing his mind. Got it. Anyway,
I was doing one of the missions today was to find a coyote, and I've been looking for these coyotes for freaking ages. Like it just kept. There's a bunch of them. Like you have to spot the coyotes and you have to find the tracks, or almost like harvest a couple of them. And I was doing a different mission later on because I've been looking for this fucking coyote for ages, like an hour and a half. So I went and did a different mission, and as I was doing that, like a coyote's just like walking past me, like fuck you, you stupid coyote. But then I needed to also spot one because I just shot that one. I didn't because I just was like, oh fuck, what the what is that doing there? I just turned around and shot it. And so then I went to a coyote spot, and it kept calling like the warning call, and so I'm like fucking crawling through this bush for like 10 minutes, and I eventually I can hear like I'm like, oh, there's two of them here. I can hear it. You can hear the rustling when you get really close, and so I see this fucking coyote like walking towards me, and so I spot it, and then I'm looking on the left, and I realize it's not a coyote because I can see it coming towards me. It's a fucking brown bear, the second thing I'm hearing the entire time. And I'm just like, oh, okay, fair enough.
oh my god.
Yeah. Anyway.
Did I share that video of me getting fucking belted by a water buffalo?
No.
Oh, did I? I've got to share it. It was fucking hilarious. Oh yeah, no, I chucked it in the Discord. You got to watch it. It is phenomenal because I spend so long trying to work out if this cow is actually trying to kill me. I spotted like a mythical water buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Shot it, vital organ hit, definitely a good one. And then this other one just fucking charges me, and I like very casually just dodge out of the way, and then it like turns around and tries to get me again. I'm like, is this thing trying to get me or what? And then like I sort of belt over to check out the vital organs, and the fucking this murder cow runs up on me again, and like, I think this cow is trying to kill me, and it succeeded because I like if you look at the fucking video, right? No, I didn't have it in the video. Like I look like I actually killed the thing. Like it did die eventually. I went back to where I died and tracked its body. And you know, on the trophy screen you get a list of all the shots. It had the 6 shots. And it had a scroll wheel that was nearly as long as itself. Right. So I must have shot this fucking thing like 10 or 12 fucking times, like just constantly. And by the end, like I was trying to do good, like damaging shots to its like torso area so I'd hit some organs. But by the end, I was just like shooting in the fucking face. I'm just like, just fucking, oh my God, please stop. Please just stop. Didn't matter. Still kill me. It was pretty magical. It was hilarious. There's that. And the other thing that's been happening to me quite a bit is, I don't know why, but it seems like anytime I fall down a cliff, and that is that's the way I die the most. But falling down a cliff, every time I do it, when I respawn in, my dude's viewpoint is like back a couple of centimeters from his face. So like you can see his beard, like his mustache in my view. Like there's just bristles from mustache sitting in my view the whole time, and I can see that, and it's very distracting. It's very hard to concentrate on. Anyway, yeah,
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we should jump in at some stage. I don't have any of the like the DLC at all. I've just got the base game basically. I think everyone else is sort of rocking the big pack that they got.
Well, yeah, I bought that 2019 pack right from the get-go.
Right.
It was definitely worth the buy, I think. It's got me ATVs and it got me a couple of extra guns.
Oh, yeah.
Which very worth it. But
yeah, I might look into that and see how much it is. Cool. All right, what else we got here? Last game. Yeah, Mortal Shell is the last game here. It was a, I guess, a free demo that was rocking on the Epic Game Store, right?
Yeah. So a beta, I guess, like an open beta. So it was a closed beta, got open to everyone, available on the Epic Games Store. It's sort of the first 2 areas. Oh, fuck, sorry. It's sort of the first 2 areas of the game, as far as I can tell, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, like, I guess first 3 areas, really. But it takes you through, like, the very first area is a simplistic sort of tutorial. And then it introduces you to the first real area. And then there's a second area. And yeah, that's like it's a Dark Souls style game. It's very heavily inspired by Dark Souls. It's got some pretty key differences that I think are pretty important to how people will receive it. But you know, in a lot of ways, it's very much a Dark Souls game. You know, you've got light attack, heavy attack on your RB and RT. You've got a parry on your LB. You've got a full block. Oh, there's a cat. You got a full block. You can like basically harden like your fucking Kakuna, and like just it blocks all incoming damage. So that's a pretty big one. You've got a stamina bar, which a lot of Souls games tend to, or a lot of games pretending to be Souls games tend to neglect. But this one has a stamina bar, and stamina management is a pretty fucking big deal. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Like, it's, you know, understated storytelling, gothic horror vibes. Feels like you're immediately thrust into a weird swampy type area. And yeah, so far so Dark Souls. And then you start to get into the differences. And there are a number of them that I'm not a huge fan of. I think the biggest difference, or the most immediate difference that you'll notice, is there's a familiarity system. And it seems like this is pretty important to the, like, pretty core to the game experience. But to sort of like almost immediately as you start the real game, you find this loot, like you know, guitar. Yeah. You can loot. You can loot a loot, and it tells you that you can find out more about this item by increasing your familiarity with it. So you have to use it 10 times. Every time you use it once, it returns to your inventory, so you can use it again. And so you use it 10 times, and eventually it tells you. It'll say, use the loot to aggro enemies. Right, that's its purpose, is to aggro enemies from afar. And so you can use that to trigger aggro for enemies, so you can lure them in, which is important when you don't want to take on 2 giant cunts at the same time, and you prefer to take on them one at a time. So yeah, that's it. You've mastered familiarity with the loot. And then there are other items, and I'm not sure if your familiarity resets at the like when you die or something. I couldn't tell. There were a couple of items where I started at level 1 of familiarity every fucking time I died. I don't know if it's a bug with the beta or if that's an intended fucking consequence, but that was very aggravating because I already have to use these fucking things 10 times. I don't want to have to use them like 1,000 times just because I can't stop fucking dying. But yeah, there are some items. There's a mushroom you can eat, and if you eat it, it poisons you. And it's not easy to get health back in this game. It's not something you can just fucking, oh yeah, I got my fucking health back. Don't worry about it. Like easy. Like it's just straight regenerating. No. Like you die and yeah, you can get your health back. There are a couple of ways that you can do it, but it's not something that happens easily. So eating a fucking mushroom and then being poisoned is basically a death sentence. Like you're taking it costs half your fucking health is poison. Turns out if you eat it 10 times, if you master your familiarity, you will have poison resistance. But I do not like this concept of a mechanic because what it does, right, is it like I guess in a way, right? I've always talked about this with Dark Souls, the idea of the explorer and the tourist, right? The explorer finds things out for themselves, and the tourist follows the tracks laid by others, right? Like the tourist, and there's
goes through guides and things like that.
Yeah, and there's literally nothing wrong with being either type. And you might be explorer for some and tourist for other parts. And like the beauty of Dark Souls is it makes both types of gameplay feel perfectly valid, and it's fucking phenomenal. But this makes it heavily punishes explorers. I mean, not only is it tedious as fuck, sitting there playing a loot 10 times over and over and over again just to knock it out, but also having it be actively detrimental to your fucking well-being to eat a fucking mushroom and having to do that 10 times and it's not like the mushrooms, you can't just pick up 10 fucking mushrooms, you gotta fucking wait for them to respawn. So having to wait for the mushrooms to respawn, and you probably want to wait for there's another mushroom nearby that does give you health back. Like having to wait for those two things to respawn and cycle between the two, over the course of, I guess, fucking half an hour so that you can fucking knock this dumb fucking familiarity shit out, doesn't feel good. I do not think it is I don't understand what the intention of this mechanic is. I feel like the only intended purpose for it is to specifically restrict speedrunning, right? Because the only way that's basically all it does. All it does is remove certain tools from a speedrunner's arsenal. Because if you want poison resist for an enemy and there's an enemy in that level and there's fucking tons of enemies in the next level where you want poison resist, if that's something you want, then you're going to have to take the time to build the poison resist, right? You can't just get an item that gives you poison resist. You have to build it up. And so I just feel like that fucking sucks. It's literally just there to slow down speedrunners, to force them into some sort of tedious loop so they can build up certain resistances. I don't understand. I don't agree with the implementation of a familiarity. If someone wants to fucking enlighten me, I am honest to God all ears. If I just haven't seen the light yet, I'm always fucking happy to see the light on shit. Fucking Dark Souls itself is a game that I didn't see the light on until fucking a while, a significant time after it was out.
Yeah. Same.
But yeah, like once I do, I'm fucking in, right? So if someone wants to convince me that familiarity is the fucking revolution for the Dark Souls genre, do it to it, please, by all means. Anyway, so there's that. The fucking first level, it's pretty linear. I don't know. It doesn't, like, for me, Souls games are these, like, even Dark Souls 2 was a bunch of very large looping on themselves levels. And Dark Souls itself is looping, like one giant fucking looping in on itself level type area. Same with Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne is slightly more Dark Souls 2-y. Sekiro can go fuck itself. Like, yeah, they've got that sort of vibe to them, but this feels very level by level. It's like they took the Dark Souls concept and they applied it instead of to a Zelda like, right? With the Ocarina or the older Zelda, like sort of open world type games. This takes it and really leans into the Castlevania or Metroidvania concept of it being room by room. Like in Symphony of the Night, there are large sections. Like you can go through large sections, but like there is definitely like a system of rooms that you go from room to room in.
Mm-hmm.
It feels sort of like that. I think it's far too early for me to say whether or not I like that or not.
Yeah.
But it's certainly very different, and I feel myself missing the looping like level design of Dark Souls. I think it could pay off. It very much could pay off. But at the moment, like from the open beta, I felt like it was, something I missed more than anything. I'm very keen to play more Mortal Shell, 100%. And I definitely will. But yeah, like that, just those two things are very different from Dark Souls. The other thing is the shell system. You inhabit these shells, right? And it's pretty weird. So, like, the shells are sort of like archetypes or classes, and so a different shell will have different abilities, and you can upgrade those abilities. You've got like a couple of different currencies, and yeah, the shells allow you, like the currencies allow you to upgrade your shells, upgrade your weapons, buy items, stuff like that. But the shells, do different. Like, there's two shells. I only found two shells in the beta. One is real quick, nimble, high stamina character. The other one is a chunky armor bound sort of tanky character. And they're both quite like different in the way they play out. But I don't know. I find it a little weird. I haven't really got a good grasp on the concept yet. I don't think the open beta really demonstrated the concept enough. I like the idea of, so when you die in Mortal Shell, when you die the first time, you get knocked out of your shell and you can get back in your shell and you've got full health again. But if you die again, that's it. I think until you switch levels. I think that's a cool idea. And I think it's executed quite well. And when you're outside of your shell, you're like super low level and quite vulnerable. But at the same time, like, so there's this desire to get straight back into the fucking shell. But like, there are a couple of situations like almost immediately you can crawl through this fucking tunnel and go fight a boss. Like almost instantly, you can immediately fight a boss if you're so inclined. He's pretty fucking rough. And you'll fight like four fucking enemies that have all the same fucking moves as him, and they're annoying as fuck. But if he poisons your shell, you can wait out the poison, right? If the poison kills you, you can wait out the poison as your uninhabited shell, just running around dodging his fucking attacks, and then get back in your shell when it's no longer poisoned, because it sort of glows green while it's fucking poison. You get back in your shell, you're Gucci. You're no longer poisoned. You're back full health, and you can finish them off. And I think that's pretty cool, and it's executed quite well. It does, yeah. Like I said, it's a little hard to get a good grasp on whether or not it's a good thing, but
Yeah.
my gut says it's a very like interesting idea that I would like. I very much want to explore a lot more. It just makes me wonder if you're spending a bunch of your resources, your souls, upgrading one shell. Are you not sort of tying yourself pretty acutely to that shell?
Hmm.
Is it not one of those situations where you wind up like railroading yourself by spending all of your currency on one thing, which does tend like it can happen sometimes, and it can stifle experimentation. The other thing is, I like weapons. It does. I don't know. I think if I look back, my biggest problem with Bloodborne was that I felt like it didn't have enough weapons. It didn't have enough weapon variety. And I think one of the things that I really enjoy in Dark Souls games is the ability to experiment with a lot of different weapon types. And this doesn't appear to have many weapons either. It feels very Bloodborne in that style. And so yeah, I just miss more weapons, but I only found two weapons, two shells in the open beta, and I'd like to see more. And one other criticism I have is it feels fucking off. Something about the movement feels off. There's like right at the start of the first real level, you got to run down this winding path. And if you run off a ledge like that's smaller than a fucking curbside, you will like drop, like both feet drop, and it halts your momentum. And that is, I feel like that sums up all of my problems with the movement system in this game. Like it feels very wonky. Like that shouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen in Dark Souls, certainly. It's like you're like locked. Like they don't have a fucking small fall. Yeah, there's it's full blown like, oh yep, falling animation. Oh no, like you need to be able to fucking ignore that falling animation or something, because it shouldn't be happening. Yeah, so they definitely need to tighten up the fucking movement, but otherwise, like, obviously I feel like I've spent a lot of time complaining about it, but like I like it. Like I enjoyed my time playing it. I think because it's billing itself as a Dark Souls MMO or some shit. I don't know how it's an MMO. I don't know how it's multiplayer at all.
Right.
But it's billing itself that way. It's very upfront that it's inspired by Dark Souls.
Oh yeah. It looks like even the menus, the UI looks like Dark Souls.
The loading screens and shit, like,
yeah,
fuck. Like, yeah, I think it's upfront about it, and so I don't mind directly comparing it to the thing it's attempting to ape. And yeah, like in a lot, like those are the things that I didn't like that are direct departures from Dark Souls. Everything else, I think it does a good job of like mimicking it, and I think, or demonstrating its inspiration, whatever you want to say. So yeah, I'm very keen to play more of it and check it out some more. I think you might still be able to play it. You might still be able to get into the open beta. I'm not sure when the open beta ends, but
yeah, I was I saw this pop up the other day, and I looked into it a little bit and it looked very Dark Soulsy. But when I read that it was like the first two bosses or whatever, I was like, oh, I mean, this looks like a game I'll play. So I thought I may as well just wait it out because it looked pretty cool.
yeah,
it's from an indie studio with like 15 people or something like that, made up of some pretty, well-versed veterans of the industry. So it seems like a game I'd check out. So I just thought, I might as well just wait, see what it's like when it comes out. Because it sounded like it wasn't going to be too soon away, like some stage in the next couple of months. I think I saw something that said Q3. I don't know if that's still
really
the same, but it was supposedly this year.
cool. Yeah, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on if you're into Souls games. But that said, yeah, there's definitely some work left to do. And yeah, the familiar. Oh man, that needs to go, in my opinion. That's the only thing that I'm like hard hating on. Familiarity. I just do not think it brings anything good.
Right.
I've got no idea what it's supposed to, I don't know, add to the equation. Like to use one of my favorite food analogies.
Don't do it.
Okay. Right. What if you've got Skittles spaghetti, that masterpiece of food, and then you're like, but what if I slice in some fresh cucumber? Right? It's got no place. It's got no place in it. Why would you do it? Why would you slice in fresh cucumber to Skittles spaghetti? Think it through. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No,
it's the worst.
Nobody's doing that. That's terrible.
Yep, exactly.
All right, cool. That is the games for this week. Let's do some news.
Let's do it.
Going up. The first piece of news is about Xbox. They have announced that their next 2020 event is coming in July, which is this month, Joab. In 2 weeks. This is after they said they were going to be doing their monthly 2020 events, and then they skipped last month. But it looks like this is happening now. So they're calling it the Games Showcase. And I don't know, like this kind of seems like they're on the back foot now, and they're trying to recover at this stage after the Sony event, because the last things that we heard was that they were going to be doing something in August for the for this next console. What was it called? The Xbox Series S, the mini. And I guess this was also rumored to be when they were going to be doing the Halo reveal, but it sounds like now the Halo stuff has been pushed up. Or it could be the entire event has been pushed up. I'm still not sure at this stage whether or not there will be an August event, but
I couldn't work that out either. Yeah.
Just because of what they're doing, like, it's so unclear. They were saying that, yeah, this is going to be a monthly event, we're going to be doing all this stuff, and then they've just missed a bunch of them, and this has just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've heard a couple of things that Halo and something else. What was the other game? Do you remember what people were saying?
I only saw Halo. I was laser focused on Halo. I made a sweet Obi-Wan saying hello there, but with the Master Chief's head. It took fucking 25 minutes to make. It's totally worth the effort.
I think it was Fable or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That does sound familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised.
Anyway, so I guess we'll see what that's all about, but I'm just so confused about what the what they're doing exactly. And if we do hear something about this new mini console, or if they save that, are they going to save that for August, and then they're going to do the price? Just to kind of wait for Sony to maybe do something. Like, at this stage, we're just seeing who jumps first. And obviously, we spoke about this before. Sony's going to have a lower price point just because of what they're bringing to the table in terms of this mini Xbox Series S, Lockhart, whatever you want to call it, thing. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Next up, we've got Rockstar is working on a AAA VR game, or at least a AAA game that will have VR. And this is being headed by ex-LA Noire, Brendan McNamara, his new studio, who did they do... Did I read this right? They did the VR on LA Noire? Same studio?
Did they?
That's what I thought I read. The LA Noire VR case files. Who developed that? It just says here Rockstar Games. Maybe it was Rockstar that did it.
Maybe it was. Maybe his studio's a offshoot with, yeah.
Maybe. I probably should have researched this better. But anyway,
it's not Team Bondi, right? Like it's former Team Bondi.
Well, it's he's got another studio now.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of it is called at this stage. Team. I mean, at one stage,
our news segment is so good.
Team Soho. I don't know.
We're so fucking good at news. Anyway,
it's just because there was so much. I didn't have time. I've forgotten all this. This is last week. I feel like I saw this. Anyway, it's being made out of Sydney by a team that's apparently very small. I think when I read it, it was about 10 people at that stage. And they're definitely looking at hiring, because this was sort of leaked via a job ad. Sort of thing. Saying, basically that it's marked a certain amount of years since they've been working for Rockstar, and
marks our 7th year of working exclusively with Rockstar in Sydney. We are excited to take on this groundbreaking project.
Yeah, right.
It's Video Game Deluxe.
Okay, that's a terrible name.
It's not a good name.
No. I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see sort of like what comes out of this, because Brendan McNamara has not got a good history in this industry. At least I remember we talked about this ages back, but it talks about him, the way he was treating staff and that sort of thing. Like, I wonder if that comes into it at some stage. But yeah, like, do you think this is going to be an entirely new game, or is it like they're working on VR for GTA?
I don't know, 10-person team working on a fucking open world game. Considering the ending credits for fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 are 14 hours long, I don't know. Doesn't seem likely, does it? I'm pretty sure it's and they're coming off adapting LA Noire for VR, so I highly doubt it's an independent game, but I'd be, happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they're throwing around a AAA open world game with 10 people at this stage. To me, it feels more like they're being tasked with doing a VR component of whatever Rockstar is working on. But that would still be weird to me. Like, why would Rockstar is now outsourcing? I mean, they could be. No. I haven't looked at Red Dead 2.
Small, like that. I think they're working with a lot of different studios within their ecosystem. I get the feeling it's sort of like how, second party developers. There are second party developers for
the
major consoles. Yeah, I think there are second party teams within like the same sort of system within Rockstar. And probably Ubisoft, to be honest, the amount of people they got working on games.
Yeah. My bet is that it's GTA 6 and they're working on the VR side of it. That would be my guess. I don't think it's a separate game, unless they're working on fucking VR for GTA 5, but that's, I don't know. That might be too late at this stage. Anyway, keep an eye out for that one. Why don't you go work for them?
Oh
Be
yeah,
a
easy.
lead writer.
I'll work from here. You can move down to San Diego and work from over there. Yeah,
Right.
easy clap.
All right. The next one we have is some Far Cry 6 news. I don't know who this actor is, but he's from Breaking Bad and Better Call.
Baking Brad.
Baking Brad.
You can tell it's late at night in San Fran at the moment,
Hmm.
right? Because Luke's gone to fucking
I'm going
bewitching
sleep.
hour voice.
Yeah.
He's his wife's asleep and he's like, and let's move on to some Breaking Bad news. Far Cry news. I don't know who this actor is, but he was in Baking Bread. Yeah.
Giancarlo
Yeah.
Esposito. Is that how you pronounce it? Giancarlo?
I guess. Giancarlo, yeah.
Esposito. Also in The Mandalorian.
You got Esposito, right? No one was questioning whether or not you could say Esposito. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Breaking Bad. Mandalorian.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yeah.
I don't know what else he's in, but yeah, that's what it's kind of sounding like. He was saying that he's not allowed to talk about it, but he's in a very big game. And at this stage, somebody else already leaked a couple weeks back that he was going to be the villain. So that all but seems pretty much confirmed at this stage, which we should get confirmation about on the weekends, because that's when Ubisoft is doing their, what's it called, Forward event?
Ubisoft Forward, yeah. It'll be Monday our time. And yeah, Sunday for you, I guess.
Yeah. And next up, we've got Fallout 76. Oh, no, it's just Fallout, sorry. Fallout is getting a TV show.
I had not seen this at all. I have not seen this news at all.
From the team behind Westworld. Jonathan Nolan and who's
Lisa
the
Joy.
Lady? Yeah, sorry?
Lisa Joy?
Lisa Joy.
Lisa Joy?
Yeah, they're making a Fallout show. TV show.
Really?
Which kind of makes sense, because we know that Westworld is wrapping up next season, right? It's the last season.
Right? Yeah.
So they'd be going on to something else. I don't know. Would you watch a Fallout TV show?
Yes.
Okay.
In a fucking heartbeat. Oh my fucking God. Are you kidding? Like, seriously. No time at all. That's fucking awesome. I can't believe I missed this. When was it announced? Fucking last week. Jesus Christ. I'm so out of the loop. That's why we're so good at news.
We're so good.
Yeah. Would you watch a Fallout TV show?
Yeah, I think I'll watch it. I'll probably give it one season. It depends on how they wrap up Westworld, I guess.
Right.
Because I liked season 3 of Westworld, but I think it was better than season 2. It just didn't go as well as what I thought it was doing. Like, it's such a good premise and setup, just didn't pay off.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, I'm keen. Tell you what, though, a lot of video game TV shows being done, right? Last of Us is being done by HBO team. We've got this Fallout TV show. We've got The Witcher. I think that The Witcher is technically a video game TV show as well.
Okay.
Let's go on. Next up, we've got NBA 2K. We talked about this last week. The third cover athlete is, in fact, Kobe Bryant, which is what we guessed, kind of expected. What we didn't expect was all the other things they announced with it. One of the suggestions I had was that they can't do the Kobe Bryant cover without having some sort of like donation or having proceeds going towards a charity, like some sort of charity. My suggestion was like women's basketball. They have not done that. Instead,
no,
they have jacked the price up $10 for the next gen console SKUs. They've also basically put a premium on the Legend Edition, or this Kobe. I think they're calling it like Mamba Edition, Mamba Forever.
Yeah.
Where you pay an extra $50, and at that stage you get a bunch of digital items, which includes their infamous VC, a bunch of other digital gear like cards and wearables and things like that, cosmetic things, and lastly, you get cross-gen support. So you'll be able to take your Xbox One or PlayStation 4 save across and play it on the new console. And they're charging for that, which is
It's pretty gross.
insane.
It's pretty gross. Like, it's like it could have been such a good announcement, but instead, they're just being gross.
Yeah, it's extremely gross. There's just nothing about this like cover reveal that is like in any way honoring what what this legend has done for the sport. Instead, they're just I put this on Twitter. I feel like it's just a cash grab to sell more copies of this game and to sell like a digital currency, because there's nothing about it that is like, oh, I want to buy this. Like, they are literally charging money to do what a lot of other publishers are doing for free.
Yeah. And it's in a game that is already hyper exploitative. I mean, yeah. Last year's game, I think, was better than the previous year, but fuck, like we're talking razor thin margins here of improvement. We're talking about a system of monetary exploitation that is like barely fucking discernible in its differences. It was better in the sense that I don't know, they slightly lubed up before they fucked me raw. Like, it was gross, and there's no way that they're not going to do that again. So the fact that they're increasing the price
that was
for
a
the
given,
base
though.
game.
I'm okay with price increases on games, which I think that's going to happen across the board, like an extra $10. What I don't agree with is that they're doing the price increase, plus they've got all the shit in there already still that they're, this stuff is supposed to be in there because games cost so much money now. But NBA is the one game that doesn't need a price increase because they make so much fucking money on their gambling and all that other stuff that's in the game. It's your Last of Us Part 2s that should be $70 at retail. At the moment, they're $69, which is AAA games when they're, that's the standard price. But those types of games I can see going up to $70. Not NBA. It's not. It's not justified at this stage. Not for an annualized franchise that really doesn't do it. I think it's extremely gross.
100%.
Yep. And this sort of leads on to the next story we've got. Microsoft has reportedly been telling developers and publishers they are not allowed to charge players who want to upgrade from the Xbox One version of their games to the Xbox Series X, which basically what 2K is doing with NBA 2K20. This was verified by Video Game Chronicles, which is sort of the same sort of VGCs under like Eurogamer, US Gamer, like those companies, and also secondly verified by GamesIndustry.biz, who said their sources said exactly the same thing that they've been hearing the last couple of days. So it seems like that this announcement has upset Microsoft quite a lot, because obviously they've got their smart delivery service, which at this stage there are 14 games that are on board, where if you buy a version on an Xbox One of, say, Cyberpunk, then you can bring that across to the new platform, and it's a free upgrade. You'll be able to play it, no problems. Whereas what 2K is doing with the NBA is you need to buy the premium extra $50 version of the game in order to play it. And Microsoft's not happy about that at all. So I think at this stage it's probably too late for 2K to do anything. What can they do? Does it get to the point where Microsoft says you can't put that on our platform and just try and hold it over the top of them?
I doubt it. I really doubt it. I think they're just. I don't even think they're that upset with this. I mean, based on the story, I think it says Microsoft is encouraging other offers where customers receive both versions, that they don't have to use smart delivery and all this kind of stuff.
Which is what FIFA's doing. FIFA's doing the like you can buy it and you've got a certain amount of time to transfer ownership across to the next platform.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to stop them from doing anything. I think they'll just fucking wear it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
We'll have to wait and see how it develops. I mean, yeah, there's no question that what NBA is doing is gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the $10 price hike is something we're going to see across the board. It's something they've been talking about for a while, not just 2K, but other publishers. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see that on this generation. It's been a long time since we've had a price increase on video games. So as the cost of them gets higher and higher. Next up, we got some more news stuff we didn't talk about last week, which is all the allegations that are still coming out in relation to people in the game development scene or influencers or working around sort of the media side. Some big ones that has been talked about, some more people at Ubisoft, a VP in particular has resigned, and they're talking about getting external auditors in to look at this stuff. Ubisoft is trying to really get on top of it because they've obviously had the creative director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla step down a couple of months before their launch, which is a big deal.
It is, yeah.
And it seems like a big problem for them at the moment in terms of culture. Talking about people complaining to HR and sort of nothing getting done. So it's good to see them stepping up for that. Evo 2020 has been cancelled completely.
Yep.
After one of the co-founders was also called out in relation to their behavior. I guess there was some repercussions there as there were teams and players saying that they weren't going to attend anymore because of this. So the community really stepped in and made them force their hands. And in doing so, Evo has been cancelled for this year.
Yeah, which is pretty drastic. It's Evo Digital, right? Not
the online.
I guess, yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. And I guess, yeah, people are they're scrambling to find the next, the new FGC event. I think CEO or Combo Raker maybe might be the new big one. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gotta be done. The only way to fucking get rid of the cancer is to cut it from its core. So it's what has to happen.
It is what's happening. It's also happening over in the Dota 2 community with a commentator, esports personality Grant, has also been removed after allegations relating to him. But the big one, I guess, is Toby1 has also stepped aside after sexual allegations were made against him from multiple women. And I guess rather than apologizing and things like that, tried to defend himself. More women came out, and he has since now said that he's removing himself from the industry entirely, which is not a good way to go about it. He's obviously not.
His apology was such fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
What a fucking cunt. What a fucking cunt. Fuck him. What a fucking prick. By no means is it on the same level, but I did notice that Red Eye also decided to walk away from esports forever. The allegations against him were more about general toxic workplace behavior, but like,
I think that's a lot different. Like
it's very, very different.
He even admitted in that, saying that, like, you know, he agrees he's not a, you know, he works hard and he's sometimes not a good person to work with, but that's very different to people were fucking dragging his family into that and things like that. Like, that's the reason why he said he's stepping away.
Didn't mean to make the connection that hard. It's interesting that they're deciding to leave. But yeah, Toby won. I felt that Red Eye. This is why I brought it up. I felt that Red Eye actually made a halfway decent attempt at an apology while he was announcing his departure, and Toby One made absolutely no fucking attempt at all because he's a fucking cunt. And the fucking never again in the history, you fucking prick. What the fuck, you piece of shit. Fuck him. Anyway.
Yeah. I honestly thought this was going to be a big deal than what it was. Obviously, it is in the Dota scene, but I would say this is the probably biggest Australian personality, at least, that this has happened to, that I can think of.
Yeah. But it's Dota, so I guess it slips past a lot of people. There are, in the esports scene in Australia, people just don't know Dota. It just doesn't happen.
Yep.
It's wild.
And the last piece of news we've got here is something we actually didn't talk about last week, or missed us, but it's still ongoing, I guess. Dr. Disrespect, one of the top streamers on Twitch, has been permanently banned from the platform. Twitch has not said why, which is extremely weird. They basically were releasing statements saying that it's because terms and services and guidelines, there were violations to that. They wouldn't specify why. But the more interesting thing was that there were people in the industry, reporters, saying that they knew the reason why. But he was then going on Twitter and saying, I'm trying to they won't tell me the reason behind it. They're just basically terminating our agreement. And then in doing that, the people that were saying they do know why weren't going to say why because it was a really big deal. It's extremely odd what is going on here. It's been about 10 days since this has happened, and we still don't know what's going on. He hasn't said anything else at this point.
No. Well, no, he said Twitch didn't tell him, which, from what I understand, talking to people who know about this kind of thing, is a fucking lie. Twitch will always tell them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and claim I know why he was banned or anything like that. All I know is that he 100% knows. I know that. I know for sure he knows why he was fucking banned. And he's opted to not tell anyone, I suppose, because he knows that Twitch won't say, and that it won't come out until someone leaks it in some manner. But yeah, he knows. He absolutely knows. It's all very intriguing. Yeah, I have no idea what it is, but yeah. Yeah, weird stuff.
I mean, the interesting thing here is that Donald Trump's Twitch account was then suspended as well. But Twitch was then telling giving out statements as to why. Like they were going into detail as to why, but they wouldn't say.
But I think it's different in the case of a public figure who also happens to be the president of the country that is the bastion
Pretend
of
president. He's not.
free speech. Yeah. So yeah, I guess they had to in that one, but so yeah, absolutely don't have to, and won't. Like their general position is they won't say why publicly. But yeah,
it's a weird because like he obviously just re-signed his contract. Recently, very recently, like a couple months ago. His wife has been posting on their Instagram pages, like saying thanks for all the support and all this sort of stuff. Like, is it an assault allegation? Is it people were speculating it could be to do with breach of contract, him talking to other platform holders or certain types of sponsorship or something? It's at this stage no one really knows it, but it seems like there are some people out there saying they do know, but they're not going to disclose why. It's just a weird situation. Did you see that Ninja was streaming today on YouTube?
I did not.
He had 160,000, I think, concurrent views. So he's testing the waters at this stage to see who's going to pay him the big bucks. He's obviously didn't get enough out of the Mixer deal.
No.
So he wants to see. I feel like depending on who wants them, like it's not Facebook. Facebook's not. Nobody's going to Facebook. Facebook would be the dumbest idea. It's going to be up between Xbox, Twitch and YouTube Gaming at this stage to see who wants to throw some money behind who.
Yep. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see on that one. And then that's the news. That's all of it, Joab.
Wow. That was huge.
Yeah.
Huge news.
Huge news. That's what they call you. Should we do some questions? I know there is some because I saw it the other day.
We do have questions. All right, let's do it. Okay. We got a bunch of questions. Fucking everyone's got questions.
Oh, man.
Okay, we kick off with Veldar writes, can I download the old Gap episodes anywhere? I finally got around to playing Dark Souls 1 and I'm kind of curious how everyone reacted when it drops. Veldar, you probably should ask this one in the general channel, but you can download some of the old episodes somewhere. I'll go through tomorrow and see if I can find the Dark Souls one because they definitely won't line up with the release of Dark Souls 1 because we got into it a little while after it launched. So I'll try and find you the Dark Souls ones when we kicked off with that. It's going to be tough. There's definitely, I'm pretty sure we've got all the way back to there's a chunk, right? There's a chunk missing, right?
Yeah, we've got a chunk missing of about 50 to 100 and something, I think it is.
Right. It's only 2 years worth. Fuck me. But we'll see if we can find them for you and we'll link you in the general chat there. Good question. We should probably get on top of, that sort of thing. Archiving that stuff. For
we're archived
posterity.
up until some of the stuff that was disappeared from Game Arena.
Right. Fair enough. Okay. Good question, Felder. Dr. E3 Money writes, how much longer can the staring match between Xbox and PlayStation go on? Who blinks first? And what are your predictions for when the new consoles launch? Food bet. My guess is one will be about the 13th to the 11th and one the 20th to the 11th. Disregard if already talked about it on the podcast. Haven't finished this week's podcast. This week's yet. All right. Sweet. Let's do this. Food bet? You want to food? How do we food bet? How do we food bet across the Pacific Ocean?
I mean, you haven't given me food for the last couple of bets, so it doesn't really matter.
Motherfucker, you owe me. You owe me. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. I'm guessing
I think like if they can go, so the thing is, right? Like if they can go 13-11, then they can go 15-11, and that is a pretty key launch window. They love that fucking launch window at Xbox. If Xbox can hit 15-11, they'll hit 15-11. I reckon 100%. Which just so happens to be my birthday and Dr. E3 Money's birthday, as far as I know. I don't know if it's anyone else's birthdays. So yeah, I think not 13. I reckon if they can hit 15, they'll hit 15. And I do not see Sony releasing in the same week. So my guess would be the 1st of November, 01/11.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll try and jump them by 2 weeks. They'll want a 2-week window wherever they can. And yeah, I reckon they'll try to go earlier, but shit, it could be pretty hairy. That would probably actually drag it back into the end of October, 30th of October.
I think they're going before Cyberpunk. I don't like. I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh, the new Cyberpunk release date. That's probably going to be the date of one of the new consoles." I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
at all. That kind of just undercuts. Like, at this stage, we all think what Miles Morales on PlayStation is going to be a launch day. Halo is going to be a launch day on the Xbox. I don't see them going head to head with Cyberpunk.
I definitely agree. I definitely think they will all be out before Cyberpunk. Do you reckon the 19th November skews? Do you think they want to clear Cyberpunk by a week or two, or what?
Yeah, I think a week, at least a week or two early.
I think 15-11's still in, but just barely. Yeah. Yeah, 30 October and 15-11, 15 November, my guesses. But yeah.
Yeah.
I
think the week before, like the first week in November, one of them's going to drop.
Yeah.
That gives
them that's the thing, right?
A 2-week buffer for Cyberpunk.
The thing is, I don't think they can release 1 week after another. That's crazy.
What's when's Call of Duty normally out? It's November normally, right?
Yeah, it would be November. Yeah, it's like that 20th sort of date.
Yeah. Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare came out in 23rd of August, so we're fucking way off on that one. But
no, Modern Warfare was October 25th. Black Ops was October 12th. So yeah, maybe.
So it's October. So yeah. Well.
Anyway, I think we're going to see November for these consoles.
Cool.
I don't know who jumps first at all.
I reckon PlayStation does it first.
Yeah, I think PlayStation goes first, and then like Xbox is just going to undercut them as much as they can. I don't think Xbox is letting this one go. Not this gen. They're putting too much into it. They bought a shitload of developers. Like, I think they're all in for this generation.
Did you read that thing I sent? The PlayStation Automated Factory piece?
No, it was too big.
It was a very good read. I'm sorry.
If it was in a video, I probably would have watched it.
You could fucking, it was basically a picture book. I thought you'd be fine with it, but no. Evidently.
I don't even read my own articles, Joab. I just skip to the end and see what the score is.
Anyway, that was a very good read. I tweeted it. It's worth checking out. Okay, Johnny Bravo writes, "Hey gents, Joe keeps talking about no questions. So here you go. Pretty popular thread on PC Gaming this week, Reddit/PC Gaming this week, about the relevance. The Reddit post is actually irrelevance of game reviewers. I saw this. The Bernie jerking Reddit community then have a discussion regarding who they consider to be the most credible source that influences the decision to purchase a game or not. What are your thoughts on the future of official gaming review sites, IGN, Stevivor, with dedicated game journalists competing with everyone that has a voice through Steam reviews or Metacritic, plus influencers getting paid big bucks to flog the latest title? Do you think an evolution is required in how the game journalist profession is conducted? Man, it's a the write-up on PC Gaming was pretty fucking funny. The dude goes on about how, back in the day, a magazine, the only place you could get information about fucking games was on magazines and or word of mouth, and you trusted what they said in the magazines and blah 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 blah. And let me see if I can find it. It was like, these days they've all got agendas. Everyone writing a review has an agenda, and they don't play games. And the people here it is. The people writing reviews in 2020 are very different people. The scores they give games rarely match what gamers actually enjoy. I have no trust in these reviewers. They are often not very avid gamers. They rarely have a journalism degree, and the articles are often written to be deliberately sensationalist, political, or contradictory in nature. They are meant to evoke emotions in people to get people to click on the article. I value the opinion of someone I can interact with playing the game on Twitch far more than I do any game reviewers. I do not think there is a need anymore for game reviewers in 2020. I think game developers themselves are not helped by catering to them either. There's a lot to unpack from that. First of all,
who is that?
Twitch, some dude on fucking Reddit. It wasn't JB writing that. So that was the post he was referencing, I believe. It was it sounds a lot like it. So first of all, the Twitch streamers who are literally paid to play specific games, those are the people that this dude goes to for trusted opinions. They're literally paid by the publishers to play these games. That seems like a solid point. So first thing first, I love this topic. I love talking about fucking game reviews irrelevance in the year 2020, because obviously it's very dear to my heart. The idea that I could write more words than anyone else about Death Stranding and have my review dismissed offhand because it's on some site they've never heard of, despite having written reviews for 13 years. And, you can go on OpenCritic and see a lot of my reviews, not all of them for whatever reason. But you can track the path of my reviewing, my critical career, I suppose. You can see how that runs, and you can determine whether or not you respect my opinion. Despite that all being out there for anyone to see, it was dismissed because it was on Player 2. Nobody else came close. I went and reread my Death Stranding review. I don't know why. I was in the mood. I unlike you, I read my own stuff. Because if you want to be the best, you have to read the best. And what else am I to do but to read my own stuff at that point? No, that Death Stranding review is fucking masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. It is fantastic, and it never got fucking nearly the fucking accolades it deserved. I'm hard done by, etc., blah blah blah. What I'm saying is, you could go and find a game reviewer who writes things that you want to read, that says the things that appeal to the or tell you the information that you require from a game review in an entertaining way. It's not like this idea that the people writing reviews in 2020 are very different people. No, they're not. The editor-in-chief at fucking Hyper from back in the day is the editor-in-chief at IGN Australia now, so it's not like you can fucking read his reviews. I know most of the dudes, a lot of them are too old for it now, have gone to where money exists, but a lot of others are still in the fucking game, still reviewing.
Are you telling me you've never been paid by a publisher to write a review?
Shockingly,
I don't believe you.
But that's staggering to think. They wouldn't Why would they? Why would they pay me? They keep getting fucking dragged across the coals.
Well, they keep doing it because you're writing bad reviews for
negative
a game.
reviews. I write negative reviews. I write they're great reviews. They're just negative. Okay?
Yeah. No, but Xbox paid you money to write a negative review for Death Stranding. That's how it works.
Of course. And then PlayStation paid me to write a negative review about Halo. It's just it's a big onanistic circle of people paying me to write negative things all the time. Despite me and I just take money to shoot down the lowest bidder whenever I can. It's worked out pretty well for me. That's why I live the low life. But yeah, anyway, that's the crazy thing is that game reviewers specifically don't take any money, and Twitch streamers specifically do, which is what I love the most about his opening salvo. But naturally, as JB said, the Bernie jerking Reddit community then had a discussion about the nature of whether or not game reviewers were credible. Two things out of that. First of all, I personally believe that there is a concerted effort on Reddit, a paid effort on Reddit to astroturf Reddit users into believing that game journalists are not to be trusted in favor of influencers because for any number of reasons. It could be anyone. It could. I'm not 100% certain who is doing it or 100% certain why, but there are a fucking billion reasons why they would want to tear down the structure of game journalism and game criticism in favor of a system where they can directly pay people to say whatever they want about video games. It directly benefits publishers. It directly benefits platforms, and the only people it doesn't benefit are the people who write honest opinions about video games. So that's the first thing, or first cab off the rank. And the second thing, I know Alana did a video about the nature of game reviews in 2020. Alana Pierce. I eventually got around to watching it. I think did you reference it last week on the podcast? I can't remember.
I did mention she was going to do a video about something.
Right.
I don't remember which one it was.
She did a video about writing, and she talked about how she talked about a bunch of stuff. One thing she didn't really talk about is the fact that people don't want to read negative reviews. People don't want to read them. They just don't want an in-depth analysis of a video game that winds up being negative.
They're there to justify their own opinions.
That's what people read reviews for. So do I think an evolution is required in how the game journalist profession is conducted? I don't know. I think the easiest way to make sure that nobody ever takes money from publishers, not that anyone is, but the easiest way to do it would be to pay us all $100K a year, because then we would definitely not be taking money. I think it's weird to think that a bunch of people who are making a lot of our peers make fuck all a year. And it takes, it took me fucking how long to get some steady retainer work, and then that disappeared. And now every week you go, "Oh, Joab, you got anything to pimp out?" And I go, "No," because I make money writing about stuff that isn't video games, because there's no fucking money in video games anymore. Not in writing about it anyway. And I guess I could be a Twitch streamer or a fucking YouTuber or some shit, but nobody's gonna fucking watch any of that shit because, sad to say, what is it? The articles are often written to be deliberately sensationalist, political, or contradictory in nature. They are meant to evoke emotions in people to get people to click on the article. Is actually specifically something I fucking hate doing, and so I never write fucking evocative fucking the most evocative fucking title I ever wrote on a YouTube video was why you should probably just play The Witcher 3 on easy, and I'll never do that again. There's too many fucking morons refuse to actually watch the video and just spend all their time sending me hate over the fucking title. I'll never do that again. I spent fucking ages on that video. Nobody fucking watched it. They just fucking, oh yeah, the title, fuck you. You don't know. Fuck that. The YouTube community is for fucking dipshits. Twitch streams, fucking, who the fuck cares about fucking engaging with people on Twitch? Holy shit. Like, how do you see anything in a fucking scroll of copy pastas and fucking emojis nonstop? Oh, here's an emote. Oh, try hard. Oh, fucking mega lol, some shit. Like, get the fuck out of here. There's no fucking engagement there. Fuck off. Fuck off for that shit. Fuck it all. Anyway, that's not aimed at you, Johnny Bravo. I'm just disillusioned by the entire fucking system. Large, like by and large, yeah, probably there does need to be some sort of overhaul put in place to drag games criticism back to where it's supposed to be, but it will never happen because there is no incentive for it to happen. What will happen is there will be a dedicated few people who will continue to put out a podcast every week, well past 500 episodes, where they just say whatever it is they feel about a video game, regardless of the political impact it has on their careers. Not that I believe anything that has happened on this podcast has ever had an adverse political impact on my career or on yours, I don't think, because that's just not how it works. But we'll continue to do that. And yeah, I'll write reviews for The Gap or wherever I can sell them to whenever I can. Yeah, the reality is this dude just hasn't tried to find, like the dude in question on Reddit just hasn't tried to find some reviewers who voice opinions in a manner that he likes. It's so much easier to fucking click a button, watch a Twitch stream, and have some fucking dude who's been paid to advertise a game to him, and then he's like, oh yeah, it's great. And if it doesn't fucking, if some fucking game reviewer says it's not great, then he'll just go fucking review on it. Cool. Or send them death threats or some shit. People are fucking morons.
Yeah. I mean, at this stage, video game criticism, at least on written media, is it's not even important to websites these days. Like, it doesn't get clicks unless you're an outlier on a big review. Let's say it's a Last of Us, and you're an outlier on that median score. That's a 95 game on Metacritic. If you're giving it a 6, you're probably getting clicks. But everyone else that's in there that's giving it the same sort of attention is not really getting anything. Which is why a lot of sites are turning to, I mean, guides are where the big money is at these days, because people are constantly looking at guides, and guides are a way to keep people coming back to the site, because you write a review and the retention on that is extremely low. People go to it once, and it's usually in the first couple of days that is out. But then after that, if the game has been released, then nobody's looking at that. Whereas a guide, you can write a guide and it's people are always looking for that stuff. Like, it's constant. It's something that is always going to be getting hits and that sort of thing. So that's why you see so many guides on websites these days, because that's what is driving so much site content. News, unless you're unless you're actually breaking news, then news isn't any good. So it's all very different. It's a different landscape. But I think that YouTube videos, we've seen some people that can transfer to YouTube. Like, I like the stuff that Chris is doing on his YouTube channel.
Chris, yeah.
There's stuff on there like G-Man. G-Man could have been a fucking game critic in 10 years ago. Skill Up, stuff that Skill Up's doing is great. As much as he loves to clickbait,
he sure does.
His
no, it's only game journalists who like to clickbait. Hold up.
No, they love the clickbait. Trust me.
Yeah, they fucking do.
I'm hanging out with those guys. Like his Last of Us review, even though it was negative, it was on point. Like he explained why he didn't like it. He tried to tell people don't fucking hate on other people for having diverse opinions. It doesn't mean it's a bad game.
Stark change from his approach to Death Stranding. I assume someone talked to him about being a fuckwit with Death Stranding,
right?
Because he was a dipshit with Death Stranding. It's like anyone who doesn't like this is a moron. But yeah, anyway.
So yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a place for game criticism or like in-depth analysis. It's just not anywhere as big. Like people just aren't paying attention to that. It's guides, man. You look at content creation, like copywriter jobs or anything like that are going in games industry. All the jobs are about like guides. You want to write guides? Guides are good.
Yeah,
we love guides.
Shit.
Or feature article. Like listicles, top 5, whatever. No one really cares about news.
It's worth money.
Yeah, feature articles are big. And guides are hard because it sinks so much time into it. It's I mean, you're already getting paid nothing to write a review. Like, think about how much you would have gotten paid to write a Last of Us Part 2 review, right? That's a 30-hour game. You smash out 2,000, 3,000 words. You get paid maybe $200, depending on where you're writing for. If you write for the highest paying site in Australia, which would be IGN, I think, is the highest paying.
They pay 600, 700 for 3,000 words plus a video.
Depending on if you're just doing a written work, then it's more like three something.
450, I think, for IGN. Yeah,
but that's an outlier.
Yeah,
and even then, you're still getting paid under the like what is considered minimum wage.
Oh yeah, if you did the hour, you can't do it by hours. It's depressing.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, make YouTube videos and take that money.
Yep. Or just do it because you love it. All right, cool. Good question, JB. A real downer. Me again. What? Johnny Bravo writes, me again. 2 questions in a day must make you feel pretty special. Oh, yeah. After the discussion last week on ball powdering, I'm left wondering the most efficient means in terms of ball coverage over mess over ease of execution in how to perform the task. I have 2 young boys, the youngest of which just got out of nappies, so have powdered many balls in my time. For them, they lay on their backs on the change table, stick their legs in the air apart, and bam, give them a hit of the Spice Weasel. However, performing it yourself, I dare say, adds some complications. You could do it standing up and do like a half squat with your legs apart, do a vertical puff up the nuts. However, you're running the risk of much of the powder not making contact and being wasted on the floor. Plus, as a powder container is over about halfway empty, the difficulty of getting the powder to defy gravity and spurt upwards would become a challenge. The second way would be like the kids on the change table, where you lay on your back with your legs in the air and bam. But this would create a blind spot in perhaps some hard to reach or see places with the angle on the hand that it has to come at your balls for maximum. With the angle on the hand that it has to come at your balls for maximum exposure. This could be less messy, though, as you could have a towel underneath. The third way is like the second way, but you need to introduce a second party to the task and just replicate the same way I do with my kids. Should I just call my wife in when I'm ready to give my balls a good powdering? This would, by all means, create the most coverage and control. However, would be an issue when I travel for work. Do you think this is a service the hotel could offer? Very interested to hear the success and failure stories, especially from Luke, who I assume has been doing this for the first time all week. Also, whilst we're on the topic of ball maintenance, give a bit of a trim or shave down there every now and then for the sake of your wife or significant other. Fantastic question. I loved it.
How
I
many
loved it.
confused people are there right now that are listening to this being like, what is happening?
What is going on?
What if I just cut this part out and put it right at the start of the show and we open like this?
Brilliant. First question, Luke. Did you start powdering your balls?
No. I wasn't
You
here
went,
either.
didn't you go on hikes to Yosemite? Weren't you like hiking through the fucking canyons or some
Yeah.
shit? Isn't it fucking hot as shit over there?
No, I had
Like,
shorts on.
what are you? That doesn't matter. It still gets hot. There's still heat. There's still sweat. There's still sweaty boot rash. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't you powder your balls? Secondly, JB, the correct way to powder your testicles is to put some on your hand and then slap your balls a bit. And the upside is you can check yourself for lumps as well, which everyone should do once they're past about 30. Just check for lumps when you're powdering up your testicles. And to the topic of a trim or a shave, I do actually wish that I could convince my wife to do the third way, to give me a bam with a spice weasel. But I don't know if I've got a change table that would fucking. I don't think I've got a table in my house that would hold me. I'd have to do it on the kitchen bench. I think that's the only thing that would actually, like, not collapse under the weight of me lying with my fucking legs in the air.
What if some Glad wrap on the bed, put it down, put a second layer, and then bottoms up on the bed.
What? Hang on, why do you need a second layer? What's the second layer for?
Just in case.
Just in case it fails. Right, and then just legs up on the bed. Yeah, fair enough.
Hello,
you can
boys.
do that. Yeah. All right, you try that out. I'll try on the bench. But the easiest way is to cup your testicles. And on the topic of the trim, I read this the most horrifying moment in any young kid's life is when he realizes the shaver your dad used to give you a 2-cut when you were growing up is the same thing he used to shave his balls, 100%. And that's exactly true. That is definitely true. I don't know if my dad shaved his balls, but I definitely shave mine, and I don't have a special fucking trimmer just for shaving my balls. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Why would you do that?
For your face.
If it's good enough for my face, man, it's good enough for my balls. They're my balls, Luke. It's because it's your dog. Anyway, fantastic stuff, JB. You went like you took us all real low with the depressing question, and you brought it back again. Okay, and then he's got Elzar from Futurama bamming it up a notch against his better judgment. Heathy writes, question for Joab and Luke. Then he has attached a fucking text file, which upsets me on a real deep fucking level. But let's have
how many questions did we get this week? What happened?
Well, I know something went wrong.
They've been buffering or something.
This is some like be careful what you wish for shit. Oh my god. Oh my fucking okay. Question for Joab and Luke. I've been playing the new F1 2020 game from Codemasters. There's a new mode called My Team where you can create and control the 11th team on the grid. There's currently 10 real teams, and I never thought Formula One management, referred to as FOM from here on out, would allow a fictitious oh my god. This is like him being back on the podcast. Team to take the track against their real licensed teams. So this is a really cool and surprising thing that happened, in my opinion. And it's pretty deep too. You can, of course, name your team. You can choose a main sponsor. It gives you a big signing bonus. But to make sure you don't just choose, what is going on with the word wrap in this fucking? Why has he done this? Oh my god, it's worse without. Fucking hell. But to make sure you don't just choose a sponsor with the biggest initial cash injection into your 5-minute-old team, they have goals for you to achieve for the season, which earns you the extra dollary dues. So you have to weigh up big pimping stacks of cash now with harder goals, or medium pimping cash now and easier to achieve goals. I guess you could just turn the AI difficulty down and make it easy for you, but that's not really a challenge. You then choose an engine supplier. It's a power unit, but screw calling it that. Honda, Renault. I can never remember how to say that. It's
Renault.
French.
It's
Mercedes. Renault. Okay. The T is silent or the L is silent? I didn't.
I think it's both.
Don't worry about it.
Renault.
Renault. Mercedes, Mercedes, and Ferrari all supply engines in F1. Honda and Renault are the two cheaper options, but don't have as much power and reliability as the Merc and Ferrari. So choose wisely. After selecting a power unit, you assign a second driver. Your character is F1's Bill Russell, the player manager, whom you select from a short list of Formula 2 drivers and whose salary comes out of your signing bonus, which is now heavily depleted after your last purchase. The rest of your cash you can spend on your facilities to improve things like the power output of your engine and its reliability, the marketing department to increase your acclaim, which brings in smaller sponsors and increases disposable income, upgrade your simulator, which increases your second driver's stats, a myriad other things. He wrote things, I don't know why, that I won't get into here. Oh, God forbid you don't get into something in this rant. Oh, you can choose one of many livery designs for your car and change the colors to something you're happy with. Finally, you do interviews and your answers can have an effect on people and departments of your team. So your answer might make the aerodynamics team at the factory happy. That'll increase their morale. I'm not yet sure what higher morale does for the department, but it's definitely good. This is a big step up from previous F1 games. Last year, they introduced the F2 cars and drivers, which is a big deal. This, I reckon, is on par with that, and I actually look forward to playing an F1 game for the first time in like 6 years. Anyway, my question is, if you were single, would you sleep with a woman with no nose? And no, you can't cover it up. You got to stare at her in her noseless face.
It's a classic Heath. It's a classic.
It is a classic Heath. So, Luke, if you're single, would you sleep with a woman with no nose?
Like, what are we talking here? Are we talking like Voldemort? Like, there's just no nose, or is there just a hole? Is there a hole there?
I think it's got to be no nose, like
No
just
nose.
no nose.
No nose.
Yeah, like skin over the area where it would be.
Yeah, why not?
Like when, what if it was a hole?
I think the holes need to be patched up. Something needs to be covering the hole. Because that's just it seems unhygienic at that stage.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think I'd have to be in the scenario to know necessarily. Like, I think, you know how there's like those apps that turn you into a lady, or like make you look better, or give you different colored eyes and shit. Someone needs to make a no nose app so you can see what you look like without a nose.
Okay.
Right? That would be helpful. Then I could turn myself into a lady and then give myself no nose and judge based on that. Like, determine whether or not, yeah. Because I don't think of myself as a shallow person, you know? But I think it'd be distracting, you know? And I'm not going to say that I've got ADD, but you know, I'm a hard person to keep on track. I have a food analogy that would really suffice for this situation. Anyway, horrible question, Heath. Thanks for writing in.
I don't remember anything about what you said in regards to the game, other than Renault. Like, it just went fucking... It's like he's here.
It is exactly like he's here. Fantastic.
I retained more knowledge in the last sentence than that entire 5 minutes.
Yeah, we got Heath.
All right.
Gold, that's the podcast.
That was the podcast. Thank you to everyone that listens. We appreciate it. Please rate and review the show. If you do have some time, helps other people find it. Means that we do more things for you guys, which we enjoy doing. Yeah. If you do want to send us questions, you can email us thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. That will take you to our Discord. And we got a bunch of different channels in there. You can talk about games, movies, leave us questions. You can play games with other people. We're on there most nights doing something. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/GAPodcast, twitter.com/GAPodcast. You can go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube. You can watch this if you like to on the internet. You can also find our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all the things we just talked about, including past episodes of the show. If you want to go check them out, we'll find that Dark Souls stuff. It's somewhere there. I've got like episode 1 to 50, and then we're missing like 50 to 190 something. I think, which is disappointing. But we've got the rest.
Not ideal. Yeah.
That's all thanks to our Patreon members. Not the episodes that are missing, but they help us pay the website, keep it running.
Yep.
If you want to help support the show, go to patreon.com/GAPodcast. Thank you to everyone that does that every month. They helped us do the Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast that we put out recently. So thank you to those people. They get the podcast early as well. Extra day.
Oh, yeah.
Find out what we're talking about. And that is it. Joab, you got nothing to pimp out this week? It's all coming next week.
I do have something.
No, you don't.
No, I've got the... Go watch on Red Bull Gaming's YouTube. Go watch the wrap-up. I wrote a bunch on the wrap-up, and you can hear my voice for about, I don't know, fucking 40 seconds. Because I take everyone through, me and Nate, Nacho's Justice, take everyone through the details behind the latest Rainbow Six update. But yeah, I wrote a bunch of stuff on the show, and it's a pilot. There's a lot of room to grow. Heaps of awesome feedback on our Discord from specifically from Liam and Zio. But it's I think it's got the opportunity to grow into something really good. So check it out. And yes, otherwise next, I believe Monday, head to Survivor to read a whole lot on Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion. What about you, Luke? You got anything?
No, you can find me twitter.com/Luke Lawrie, and go check out what I'm not posting on Twitter, because nothing happening on Twitter. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm excited to see what's next week's show. Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, man. I'm really looking forward to Watch Dogs. What do you reckon?
Shut up.
Anyway,
screw you. No.
That'll be a good show. So we'll see everyone next week.